Thanks for being here, man.
I know. I'm so excited.
I know. Me too. Me too. I'm really excited. I'm so glad I got to meet you at the mud spa that day.
I know.
That was really fun.
We're only an hour from each other.
I know. You just moved. You were already in Orange County and then you just moved over, right?
I was in Newport and now I moved to Ladera, which is like Laguna Niguel area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you from Orange County?
So I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
So that's why you'll hear me like say talk and
You did just say talk. You did just say talk.
Yeah. And like,
I should have caught that.
And the yeah. Like you'll hear things like come out.
Now I'm seeing a total Jersey vibe. Where in New Jersey are you from?
So it's in South Jersey.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's called Franklinville.
Okay, the only area I know is Marstown, but I know that's where, like, the really rich people live.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've ever heard of. Yeah.
Oh, not the one of the really rich people.
That's where the rich people are, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, I grew up, like, a half hour from Philly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm a Jersey girl. I lived there for 25 years and then came out to Orange County to get sober because it's, like, literally the rehab Mecca.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It totally is. There are so many treatment centers out here.
Yeah. So that's why I came out here.
Did Dr. Phil pay for you to go to rehab?
He didn't. So what it is that when you go on the show, basically, like the owners of treatment centers, they go on because it's like free advertisement. So they go on and then they get to pick how long like they're going to scholarship you. Once we walked off set, that was it. Like, goodbye, Dr. Phil, like, never again.
Okay.
And then the owners of the treatment center scholarship you. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I got super lucky because the owner of my treatment center that I went to, she scholarshiped me for 4 months inpatient and then 10 months sober living.
Damn.
But my sisters, my little sister got 2 months scholarship. That's it.
Oh.
My older sister got 3 months scholarship.
Okay.
So I don't even know how, like, you know what I mean? So this woman scholarshiped me the whole way.
And was that in Orange County?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is how you got here, is through that event. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about leading up to that event. Because like I was telling Amanda when she first got here, I didn't even know that part of things. And when I saw Abby a few weeks ago and said, I'm interviewing Amanda, she said, oh, cool. Yeah, the Dr. Phil thing. That'll be great. And I was like, what Dr. Phil thing?
I know.
She said, you don't even know why. And I was like, no, I just think she's a good speaker. Obviously, I watch her stuff.
Yeah.
So I was blown away. But I didn't want to research it too much because I wanted you to tell me.
Yeah.
But basically, you were on Dr. Phil with your family. They attempted to get all of you sober. How old were you when that happened?
So I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get to you're 25 years old and you and both of your sisters are strung out on heroin? That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. And it was a long journey to get there, but I'm the one that actually wrote the letter to Dr. Phil. Okay. Yeah. So like me growing up in Jersey with my two sisters, I'm the middle child. So I have an older sister, a younger sister. And then my parents, they've been married now for almost like 37 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like good people. Good family. I come from a good family. I mean, like we had like most of what we needed. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like my dad does construction.
Okay.
My mom worked at like grocery stores or banks, like, you know, whole life, whatever. But like my sisters, they actually started getting fucked up at like a younger age.
Okay.
Me, I didn't start getting really like loaded until I was like 18.
Okay.
So I was popular. I played a lot of sports, had a lot of friends.
What sports did you play?
I played softball.
Softball? What position?
I was a pitcher.
Okay.
And also
that fast stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what like my dad had me and my sisters in like pitching camp. He coached all of our teams, basketball, softball, like everything. Like life was like, you know, my mom had dinner on the table every night. Like nothing like bad happened to me when I was younger. And like I said, my little sister, I remember her being like 12 years old, smoking a cigarette. And I was like, ew. Yeah. She's disgusting. Yeah. You know? And then my older sister, she started like smoking weed, doing pills and everything like probably in high school. Okay. Like freshman year. Okay. So I went into high school as like Valine's sister. They already knew Valine's like this, like, you know
like
what I mean?
Like a partier, like a wild child.
Yeah. Okay. So I was complete opposite. And since I just didn't want to be like them. I didn't really have like a good relationship with them. They were super close. Okay. But me, I was more just like, honestly, stuck up thinking like, ew, I never want to be like them. Like that is like awful, you know? And then like, as time went on, I remember like my older sister, she went to rehab, like, you know, I'm just like, oh my God. And then my little sister can't even like graduate high school because she can't walk. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, they were bad.
How much younger than you is your younger sister?
So my little sister is 3 years younger than me.
Okay.
And my older sister is 2 years older than me.
Okay. So you're all kind of close in age.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Yeah. We're pretty close. So I'm like, right now I'm 35. I'm 34. I'll be 35 in August.
I start doing that too.
Yeah.
As it approaches the age, there's part of me that's like, I just need to fucking get over it. Because I do have a weird thing about being older. I think because I lived in LA for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm really weird about my age. Like when I turned 30, I lost it.
How old are you?
I'm older than you guys think.
Yeah.
How old would you guess? I know this is a dangerous game.
Dude, honestly, like I thought that you were like my age, like 35.
I'm 44.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm 44.
Oh my God, you look 44. Amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
In fact, I was actually telling Ab, you know that scene in Sex and the City? Did you watch Sex and the City?
I watched it.
So one of them needs a tampon and Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte are going through their purses. Yeah. And, like, they don't have one. And I don't know how it comes up, like, to maybe ask Samantha. But she walks up and she's like, girls, I'm going to tell you something. It's going to blow your mind. I'm a little older than you guys. But they totally already knew. Yeah, and so they kind of look at each other. And I told Abby, I was like, we should actually make that as a TikTok at some point.
Yeah, that would be funny.
But I'm glad you didn't know. No one ever knows. I shouldn't even talk about it that much because no one would know. People would assume I was 35, 36 maybe. Yeah. So anyways.
Well, Abby's young.
Abby's hella young. Yeah. She's not even 30 yet.
I know. Yeah, she's like a baby.
I know. Yeah. And I'm like, look what you have done.
I know.
That's wild to me. Bought the house.
I know.
It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it really is. Yeah.
So, and then the younger one is 32, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
when the older one went to rehab, what was her drug of choice at that time? How old was she when she went to rehab for the first time?
I don't know how old she was. I'm not sure, but she was doing pills. Like it wasn't like a heroin thing yet. Okay. You know, like it was just like, I mean, back in the day, it was oxys.
Right.
And I'm talking like the OG oxys, not with the film. You know what I mean? Like
the OG 80s.
Yeah.
That you could smoke or snort or whatever.
Yeah. So like that was like back in the day. Okay. But what ended up happening is that I'm telling you, like I graduate high school. I have a great job. This is funny. I was a pharmacy tech. Okay. Yeah. So I'm
like in high school.
Yeah. So, well, I couldn't be one until I was 18, but I worked it's like a grocery store called ShopRite. And I worked there as like a cashier. And then they let me, when I was 18, go back into the pharmacy. Okay. So now I'm a pharmacy tech. You know, my little sister, they're doing like whatever. And then my older sister, she's doing like whatever. I'm a pharmacy tech. I'm going to community college. I just got a new car, like this 2005 Camry that like I got like myself. Like my dad, you know, helped a little, but I just got a new car. And then I met him. Okay. The love of my life. Right. You know? Yeah. So I started partying a little bit more. Yeah.
All three of you guys were living at home?
Yep. So all three of us living at home. And of course I drank in high school. Right. And
but like nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Okay. But now, I mean, obviously looking back now and like what I know, I was the last chick, like with all the guys. Okay. You know what I mean? I was like, you know. Yeah. And looking back now also like, okay, yeah, I was pretty violent. Like, you know, I was doing all these like
Were you violent? Would you fight people?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean like I
could see that. I would have been scared of you in high school.
You can't see the hoops really, but it's a hold my hoops. You know what I mean? Like
totally. What would you fight people over, guys?
No, I guess so. Actually, now I'm just like the second I get alcohol in me, I kind of just get that rage. Yeah.
I can see the jersey you disrespected me. I have to do something about it.
Yeah. Oh situation. Yeah. I beat up like an ex-boyfriend pretty bad. Wow. Yeah. And then what happened was at that time I took off my sunglasses and chucked them to like fight him. The sunglasses nailed a girl in the face. Oh no. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So then it's like, like it was just like chaotic, you know? Yeah. So But yeah, so I met him and started partying a lot more. And like, and I don't know, like it wasn't, you know, a lot of people's stories are like, oh, they had that first sip of alcohol and it was like they fit in and blah, 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 blah. It's not really my story. Like with alcohol, like I remember the first time I met friends through the boyfriend, and we all decided to get a Roxy.
Okay.
So we got one and we split it. It was at 30. We split it in 3 ways. And then me and these 2 girls. And then I fucking threw up.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, should we go get another one? And then it was like, yeah. And it was just that feeling of just like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Did you snort it? How did you guys do the first one?
Yeah, snort it. Okay. Yeah, so I started to like snort it. And then obviously at that point, the boyfriend, he went to rehab like already. And I was just like, oh my God, like he has like an issue. But I honestly just thought for the longest time, even then I remember in that moment that even with my sisters, just thinking like they just need to stop doing drugs.
Yeah.
But then they like would go to like, you know, rehab, come out and like they could like drink and stuff. I had no idea about alcoholism or addiction or anything like that.
I think that's super common.
Yeah.
And addicts, at least I did, I kind of used that to my advantage. Like the first meeting I ever went to was actually a CA meeting. And my audience has heard me say this before, but what you just said for me too, when people drink for the first time, they'll be like, I just knew. I did not feel that way with alcohol. But when I did cocaine for the first time, I was like, this is amazing. I want to feel this way forever. So the first meeting I went to was a CA meeting, and I met up with my boyfriend afterwards, and I got a beer. I ordered a Heineken Light, which they had at Johnny's Pastrami in LA. And he kind of looked at me and said, is that okay? And I said, oh yeah, actually they said that I should drink because it'll make it easier to stop doing coke. So it's kind of like a taper down. And he said, oh, that makes sense. And I remember thinking, that does make sense.
Yeah.
I should probably drink. So same thing. And then the addict can like use that to your advantage. But I think most of us start out that way. What's the relationship between these two things? Drugs are the problem.
Yeah.
So you believed the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. So at that point I went to a meeting before to like support him. And I wasn't like fully like addicted to pills or anything. I was just like still partying, you know, like he just decided like, okay, I'm not going to like do pills. So we would drink a lot and we would do coke. And then we would smoke weed, which I'm not a fan of smoking weed.
Yeah, me neither.
But I would do it anyway. We would do ecstasy, didn't like it, but still continue to do it. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Looking back of everything, it's just like, but still continue to do it. And then what happened is that I worked in a pharmacy.
Right.
So it was just super easy to get all these pills.
Yeah.
And we're very like addicts and alcoholics are very trustworthy people and we're very smart.
Yeah.
So, and they trusted me. I did the inventory.
Wow.
At the pharmacy. So I started to steal pills.
Okay.
And also, just so you know, pharmacists, they don't really do anything. It's the techs that do everything. So I was having people come in with fake scripts as well. And I would fill them for them and then we would split them.
That's a good idea. That's a better idea than stealing even. That's a really good idea. Was there any way to account for that inventory, or were you the one in charge that would say 500 oxys came in, could you say 450 came in and there was no checkpoint? There was no...
I could say like whatever. Okay. And how I did it was we have like a pill counter. Right. But with all narcotics, you have to count them like, you know, by hand. Like you count them on this tray and then you leave them out and then like the pharmacist just checks them. But a lot of people, what we would do is we would put them in the pill counter as well first. And then, but I would put extra in the pill counter.
Okay.
Then I would pour like the amount out and then put them on the tray, like so the pharmacist can count them, but leave some in the counter.
Okay.
And then I would go through, because after like everything you need to clean it up because, you know, there's like certain people don't want like this pill to touch, like, you know what I mean, with like interactions. Yeah. So I would clean the pill counter with the tissue, like, and wipe it down, snatch up all the remaining pills. Okay. Grab the tissue, throw it in the trash. Okay. And then at night, I took the trash, after my shift, I took the trash bags into the back. Okay. And then I would go in and grab the tissue full of pills. Okay. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
there was absolutely no way, because there's cameras in there.
There's cameras in there, right? Yeah.
You know, so there's absolutely no way. But yeah, so I did that for a while.
That was like genius.
I know. So I did that for a while. I'm talking from 18 till I was 22.
Wow.
I did
Worked
that
there and getting away with it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was selling pills and I was doing them, and I was definitely addicted to them, you know, but I always had them. So it's not like I ever had to go without them.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's just like I was selling them, always had them. My sisters were both doing like heroin.
Okay.
So
did
now,
you know that?
Yes. So
You
I knew that they were doing heroin. And
How did you know? And were all three of you still living at home?
No, my little sister at that point got married to somebody, and like he was in the army or something.
Okay.
They went to Texas. So they lived in like El Paso.
Okay.
So she's now going to like the border where the Mexicans have the balloons in their mouth.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
And like she's like full blown.
Okay.
Like doing that. Like
how did you
insane.
know that while she was gone? Just like the family knew somehow?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my parents are very like, they're enablers.
Okay.
You know, like my mom, you know, she definitely, so like we can tell my mom anything. Like my mom, because we'd be calling my mom to like complain about something, or like they'd be like something chaotic would happen, you know, like, oh mom, like this just happened, and I need you to send me this much money. And like, you know, we don't have money, but my mom like would always do it, you know? And then my dad, like he does construction. He just like works a lot. He just is kind of very just like if he doesn't really know about it, it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
like, that's like, so I knew just the chaos from like my mom and like everything, and just like, oh my God, that's like embarrassing. You know what I mean? And then my older sister went to rehab. Okay. Like she was in rehab in, I want to say in Florida.
Okay.
Or something. So
for heroin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you feel at that time still different from them? Even though you were doing oxys every day, you still felt like that's addiction. This is not?
Better than. Okay. I was like totally just like, oh yeah, no, I would never do that.
Right. Because heroin is different.
Yeah.
Right.
You just have this image of like heroin and what it's like. And it's just like, oh my God, I would never do that, you know? And then this is like what happened. I was 22 and I am the only one, I think, living at home now. I don't know, like I guess maybe my older sister was in Florida. She was in Florida. My dad just like signed like his life away to send her to rehab. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then my little sister is in El Paso with dude. And then I was 22 years old, and I filled my friend. I said I'm not there. I wasn't there at the pharmacy that night. Okay. But, you know, we become friends with people that are just like, you know, fucking gnarly and junkies, and they just don't care. She went to the pharmacy with a fake script, since it was the pharmacist that was like always checking, and like he knew her and he would fill it. He would be the pharmacist there when I would be like, you know. So she went there and they called the cops on her.
Oh, shit.
For a fake script.
Okay.
So like she got like caught.
How can they tell? Because you know that's not a legitimate doctor, or do you call anytime it's a controlled substance? Yeah. How would they have known?
Yeah, so you usually like call. Okay. But like the pharmacist wouldn't ever call because
you did it.
Yeah, and it was my friend, and he knew that like it was my friend, and it was just written for like her. It was written out for her mom or something. You know what I mean? Okay. So like he never checked, but like the tech that was there working that night was like, he's very on it. Like, he doesn't believe anybody. Like, so he like looked and like looked up, you can look up the number and see that it was like a doctor for, I don't know. Like it was
like a pediatrician or something.
Yes,
like
it
not
was like
a doctor that would have been prescribing pain.
No.
Oh, whoa.
So he like looked it up. So then they like figured it out. They called the doctor. Then the doctor said that pad was reported. I mean, stolen. It was stolen. So that pad of script was stolen. So like, yeah, no, that doctor did not write it out for that. Okay. So she gets arrested. How do they make her stay? You might not even know this. Do you just say, okay, give us 10 minutes, walk around the store? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you play it completely cool. Right. Because I was also like getting people like in
You were?
Yeah, like I'm saying like people that are looking back, that's what I'm saying, like, oh my God, this is definitely a fake script. This junkie's in here.
And if it wasn't someone that you knew, you would call.
Yeah, because
wow.
I was like getting anybody that I knew that came in the film, they were giving me half of the pills.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like at this point, the pharmacist texts, like nobody in there like suspects anything like of me. And like, it's like, dude, pharmacists and like the techs, like people that work there, they're very judgmental to like addicts and like everything, and just very like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've felt that.
Yes, because it's just what we do. We're just like questioning. But yeah, you play it really cool. You play, okay, walk around, just sit there. Oh, hey, like, yeah, we'll get it. And then boom, all you see is cops walking in.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah,
so she gets arrested.
Yeah, they actually fill it.
Oh.
And like give it,
Okay.
Because then the cops, because then you get in big trouble. You have a fake script. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
so they let her get it in her hands. Did she make it to her car, or she's walking out of the?
She was walking out. Yeah. Okay. So she gets arrested, but she's like, I talked to her and everything. She's not like gonna rat me out or anything.
Okay.
But her friend is pissed, and they call the pharmacy and say that I'm a drug addict and that I'm stealing pills and filling. No. So, but I don't know a thing. Okay. So one day when I'm not working, they install like a weird camera.
Okay.
Like a camera that, but I looked and I kind of saw, but the pharmacist, like they would leave, the pharmacist would leave and they would go to the bathroom or something. And then I would go into like the safe and like steal some as well. Yeah. But like very like secretive. You couldn't tell, but I watched the pharmacist leave and walk into the, like, what's the room where like the security room.
Oh, okay.
I was like, dude, I'm like opening this safe right now. Why did they just walk? I felt weird.
Okay.
I felt very, very weird. And I was like, and I only had a certain amount of pills on me, and I was just thinking like, damn, I can't get any more. So I was feeling like a little like, okay, this is weird. But I was like, I have work. I'll go back to work in 2 days, like whatever. So I had enough on me. I went into 2 days later. So I'm 22 years old. 2 days later, I walk in and I see the managers at the time clock. And I was like, oh my God, I had nothing on me. Okay. Like I was like, I needed to go to work to steal pills so I can get loaded. Like I had nothing. Sick? A little bit. Okay. Like I did something in the morning. Okay. Like I knew at that point I needed them. Okay. So I was just like, oh no, like, and I saw the managers at the time clock and then they were like, hey, we need to talk to you. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So one of the pharmacists was a recovering addict. Okay. And like, I knew that about him, and he had like 10 years sober, and he did NA. And like, I knew that like he got in trouble a long time ago for stealing pills and stuff. But like, he was a pharmacist now. He's 10 years clean, whatever. So I walk into the office with the managers, and then they're like asking me if he made me do it. Oh. And then I was like, this is a turn, you know what I mean? Totally. But I was like, no. So, but did they have any evidence against you yet? Because you listened to your instinct and didn't go into the safe, right? Yeah, no. So they still didn't have anything other than a tip from someone that had called. Yes, they don't know anything. Okay. But you didn't know they didn't know anything, right? So were you wondering if they knew, or were you like, no, they don't really know? Yeah, well, the thing was they kept saying like, we know that like you've been stealing them, all this stuff. And I was like scared. Yeah. But they wanted me to write down, like they were asking me about him, the pharmacist, and I was just like, no. And then they were wanting me to like write down a statement. And for some reason, like I'd say this is like a little God moment. I like told them that I was under the influence, like I was high. I said, I'm high right now. Okay. I have a problem, you know? They wanted me to write down a confession. I remember they handed me this yellow notepad and they gave me a pen and they wanted me to write down a confession. And I wrote, I am high. I am under the influence. I have a problem. And I wouldn't say what I did. Okay. And then they were just like, okay, dude, I walked out of there. No handcuffs. Yeah. Nothing. But everybody was staring at me. Yeah. I looked back at the pharmacy. They were watching me walk out. You know what I mean? Yeah. They knew, you know what I mean? But I walked out of there that total, dude, I didn't get arrested or anything. Yeah. And I don't even know why I would ever think to write that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or do that. And then I left. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And did that help you because
now you're invoking like the medical privilege of I'm an addict and this is an illness? Or did it help you because you couldn't give a coherent statement that could be used against you when you were high? Like, how did that help you? Or do you think they just didn't know what to fucking do with it?
Yeah, I think that they didn't really know.
I'm sure they had no idea what to do with it. And they didn't actually have evidence, which you didn't know though.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. But the thing is when I saw them, it wasn't a moment of in that office, I'm sorry. Like, it was basically all I was thinking about was, oh shit, how am I going to get high today?
For sure.
Like, I wasn't sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
I didn't, that was the first time I ever said out loud to anybody that I have a problem. And I was just saying it just in that moment because like, I didn't want to get in trouble. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
did you think you had a problem when you said that?
Yeah, like I said, I was sick. I was starting to get sick, physically sick.
Okay.
But I don't really know what a problem meant. I thought, I just was physically sick and knew I physically needed them. I didn't know anything about like what would happen if I stopped. I thought that I just needed to stop doing them, like, period. And then everything would be great, you know? But like, that's what happened. So like that day that I walked in and like walked out of there, got fired or whatever, that's the first day I did heroin.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I walked out of there and I hit up my boyfriend.
Same guy? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I told him
to crack my Dr. Pepper. This does sound good. She asked me ahead of time, do you like Dr. Pepper? And I was like, I'm neutral. Yeah. But now that I'm looking at it, it looks good.
It's our
I haven't
tall
had a Dr.
boys.
Pepper in a long time.
Cheers.
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 The tall boys.
Oh, you also noticed too the Hope Street connection when you turned in.
Yeah, I was like shook. I was like, I'm driving. I'm like, okay, I need to get to Hope Street.
Yeah.
Dang, we real spiritual today.
I know, right? And I never even noticed that until the last guy said it also.
That's pretty magical.
I know, it is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, no, it is super cool. Yeah.
Okay, so you do heroin for the first time that day. How does that happen?
So I let the boyfriend know. I tell him what happened. He's kind of just like, whoa, because at that point he knew that he's been to rehab a couple times, and like I went to NA meetings with him, out like to support him. You know, never like, and yeah, he was like, okay, and I'm like, dude, I can't be sick, you know, and he was like, do you want to go to the city? And I was like, sure. So what my get down was, and if anybody knows about, you know, the East Coast getting high, is Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
That's where I would go to cop dope.
Okay.
So I don't know anything about Camden. All I know is that if you like live in Jersey, like Philly, you know, Camden is like sketch. Like it's like the hood. It's like not a good place to go. So I go to Camden with him. He cops dope. And like, I'm talking like we're driving up to like a set, like where there's like a lookout boy.
Like the corner boys from The Wire?
Yes.
Okay, is that a real thing?
Yes, yep.
Okay, all right.
It's a real thing. So
I just watched that show recently and was fascinated by that whole culture. So that there is an East Coast industry with corner boys and all that.
Yeah, you got like a lookout. Wow. You can even, there'll be a little boy down the street in front of like a bodega, like with his biker bouncing a ball. He's also like in on it, getting paid. Like I'm talking like this little boy could be like 10, 11 years old. Wow. Yeah. Then there's like a lookout, and then you like park, and then you like go to wherever the lookout says to go. Like you have to walk behind, like go into an alleyway, go into an abandoned building, and then you are copying from, you're getting dope from them. Okay. So we drive out there and he gets dope. And then I just like, I'm sniffing it. Okay. Like I'm not shooting it. He shoots up his. Okay. He like, I didn't even know that he did that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you didn't even know he used needles? No. Okay. Did you know you were going there to get heroin? Yep. Okay, so you didn't think there would be oxys there? No. You knew? Okay. Yeah, I knew because like everybody says, and why does pretty much everybody use heroin? Because it's so much cheaper. For sure. Yeah. I wasn't going to pay $25, $30 for a Roxy when you can buy a bag of dope for $10. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So, and out there, it's all China white. Yeah, it's all powder. That was my next question because I've never seen that. Also out there, they call it a bundle. Yeah. What is a bundle? What is that? A bundle is like 10 to 12 bags of dope. Oh, okay. Yeah. So how much is a bag of dope? Measurement wise? I don't know because it could be different. Like you want to go to a set, like I'm talking like there's different sets in Camden. Okay. You want to go to a set that they actually fill their bags up. They have stamps on them. Okay. So like it's like a blue baggie and then they stamp them. It could be like Batman and that's their set. That's where you want to go. What's a set? Like a crew selling the dope? Set, yeah. So like literally when you pull into Camden, like you can go it's so funny. Like the people that know, like when you pull into Camden, like there's going to be a set here and then right across the street, there could be a set and they're going to be saying like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Like, you know, Snow Bunny, come here.
To you, Snow Bunny, because you're a white girl?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So they're going to like want us to like go there, but like, and you kind of get a little shook. You have to, if I'm going to go to the one across the street on this side of the, you know, I need to park on this side.
Yeah.
If I go park on this side and I'm going to walk across the street and go to their set,
it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem. So like that's why I'm shook that nothing bad has ever happened. I mean, I say nothing bad. I mean, we've been hit with like smacked in the face with guns. I've been pulled down by my hair. I've been robbed. I've been
buying dope.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. By the guys out there. It's very, like
it's violent. It's different. It's
very violent.
It's a drug culture and trade. And I know just from not sound like an idiot, but watching The Wire recently. Yeah. If it is like that, the whole industry and trade and the way that they live is based on the drug, you know, the buying and selling of drugs. Yeah. There's a system, there's an ecosystem to it. And that ecosystem inherently includes violence and pressure, right? Because you need to be the person making more money is what it appears to me from the outside. So do they actually call out the name of it? Like WMDs, they'll call out the name of the dope?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what happens is when you get robbed is when, sets need to re-up. They only carry a certain amount on them. You know, if cops come, like they only want a certain amount. So they're going to like pause, like they're going to take breaks. You know what I mean? So like if I look out and this set, nobody's out there right now, they're probably going to like get more and then they'll be like back for the set, you know? So they don't want to mess up that. Like that's how they get money. It's like they have like obviously like a boss like above them. Like they want it to keep running so they can make money. Right. But when they like, it could just be some fucking like, you know, just guy out there pretending
to be them.
Yes, because it's not the same people every time. So just pretending to be them. So then you go up to them and then boom. Okay. Give me your money, like, you know. Okay. And dude, like, you know.
Tell me like one story of getting robbed or two, if you can remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like just jumping ahead, me and my sisters would go out at this point. Now we're getting high together. You know, I'll just say like, I'll backtrack. But
we'll backtrack and go through all the details.
Yeah. So like me and my sisters would go out there and like we became very familiar. I even met a dude that was by the set that we liked to go to that had the best dope that like everything is it's like gates on all their windows, doors, everything, you know what I mean? Like, so they had like their porch gated and I met like this dude and he would actually let me, if it was hot out there, you know, the cops, like a lot of cops out there, he would like let me sit on his stoop with him and wait for like them to come back out so I could just, you know what I mean? But me and my sister, they have jump out boys out there, like, you know, cops in like, you know, just hidden cars, like black, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't look like a cop car.
A jump out boy? It's an undercover cop?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but I'm saying like if you all of a sudden you're pulling up to the set, jump out boys, they're here. And they jump out of a car with guns and then boom, they're like trying to get the people that are buying the drugs. They're trying to get the dealers. Okay. Like everything. Okay. So me and my sisters, we all drive out there. We're just like driving around and then we pull up to like a set that we had never been to before because like nobody was out. Everything was hot, meaning like the cops were just everywhere, but we're dope sick. So we need to get high. So we get our dope and then there's like this guy that's trying to like rob us and like get our dope from us. And we're just like, oh, hell no. So like at this point, we're kind of like running to get back into the car. We wrestle this guy. We fight him. Me and my sisters. Yes. And then he's pulling open the door of the car. And my little sister's getting slammed against like the car. And she's like kicking. And then my older sister like kicks the dude. I'm the driver. I just like whip around and finally like she's halfway out the car. Our dude's still hanging onto the car. And then we just like whip off. Oh my gosh. Just like chaos that is just like who does that? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And we've been out there. It snows in Jersey. I had to have the dealers push my car.
Because you're stuck in snow?
Yes, I'm stuck in the snow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was so dope sick that like I said, there's a lot of abandoned buildings out there.
Yeah.
And like
the vacants, like on the wire?
Yes.
Do you call it the vacants?
No.
Okay.
You just say, and like, and I'm talking like when you walk in there, like it's like filled this much like dirty needles, just trash everywhere, disgusting.
Wow.
And like I like walk in there, but like I was so sick, like dope sick. Like I would get sick pretty fast and easily, and like I would throw up. So my older sister, she was like, we parked, she went to go cop the dope, and I got out the car. Like I said, there's an abandoned building, and then there's like grass that's like this high. I'm just in the grass throwing up, laying down.
Gosh.
She goes back to the car. She can't find me. She's like, what the hell is happening? Looking everywhere. Like, where is she? And then she like hears me, and she couldn't see me because the grass is so high. So I'm just like throwing up. But like there was like cops that drove by, but I was hidden in the grass.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, cops would come. I would have to hide with a dope dealer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I would drive down there at night, walk down a dark alleyway, and trust that this guy is going to give me a bundle of dope from under his balls.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just like now,
just
I'm
craziness.
like, I'm like holding my purse now, like with my like keys, walking through my car. And do you know what I'm saying? Like back then it was just like fearless, and you just do like whatever to get high. You know what I mean? So
I totally got you off track. Yeah. So you, with the boyfriend, does he suddenly shoot in front of you, and that's when you learn he's using needles? Like, do you guys do it in the car, or do you drive back to your house?
Yeah, we drove back to the house.
Okay. And you see him use a needle. He wasn't trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah. And I was kind of just like, should I do that? And he was kind of like, no, like, you know, like kind of, And then the next day we went back to Camden, and we got like more dope. And then I asked him to shoot me up. Okay. So then it's my first time shooting up, and he shoots me up. And I was totally just like, whoa. Yeah. You know, like that feeling of that, and just that instant, like, and I was just like super high. Yeah. You know, and because for so long at that point, I was still getting high because I had a lot of pills and could do it. But like, you know, you do it to feel like during the day, I was doing it to feel normal and just be a normal person. Totally. You know, so, but then like, when I did heroin, and I was just like, whoa, like that nod, you know? So. And you were, this is probably a dumb question, you were fired from that job. Yeah, I was fired. Did your parents end up finding out that you got fired? So 2 days later, like they knew, like I was living with them, like I wasn't going to go to work. Right. So I ended up, this is like how delusional, like my parents, like how the dynamic of the family was, is because at this point, my little sister, my older sister are already fucking up. Yeah. So like life was still like manageable for me. Like I said, I was going to community college. I had that job, you know, I had the boyfriend, had the friends still. Yeah. So life was still like, when I remember going to my mom and telling her what happened, because I was getting a little scared that they were going to press charges and stuff. So I was like, I don't know what's really going to happen. Right. Okay. So I went to my mom and told her what happened, and she was like shocked. Yeah. And like, then she had to tell like my dad, shocked. Just like, so did you admit, did you say I've been stealing pills and they caught me, or did you say they accused me of stealing pills? I said they accused me. Good girl. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. I said they accused me, and like, this is what happened. And then we kind of like talked about it, and I was a little like scared, because now I'm like, oh my God, I just did heroin. I just got fired. Yeah. This is like crazy. Yeah. So I was like, maybe I should go to rehab. You know, so I like told my parents, and then I called around, and I got into a rehab in Jersey that was like that my boyfriend went to before. So that's how I knew about it. So you did admit to having a problem. You just didn't admit to stealing. Yeah. Okay. And I was only saying I had a problem because I just like, I don't know. I didn't want it to be as like bad, like for me saying this to my parents. I don't know. Okay. You know what I mean? Just kind of like taking ownership of like, you know, so I get in, and I go to this rehab. The first thing I did is like, I compared myself to everybody in there. I was 22 years old. These women in there were like telling stories of them, like, you know, selling their ass. And I was just like, oh my God, there was these women in here that were hiding their alcohol in their laundry detergent, like bins, like baskets from their husbands. You know, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Who does that? There was just like a lot of like, I just compared, and I was just hearing all their crazy stories. And I literally was just there because one, this will look good for like whatever court reasons.
Right.
Two, I just thought that I needed to like put down the drug, like just stop them, you know? And I was supposed to stay for 30 days. I remember I lasted 14 days.
Okay.
I was like miserable.
Did you have to kick? Were you detoxing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was detoxing, you know, they gave me like the meds, you know, so it wasn't, I mean, I wasn't sleeping good. It was just like awful. And this is like, you know, I was just like, whoa, this is a kind of like a reality check of like, this is crazy. This can't be my life, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember at like 14 days, I called my mom and dad and I was like, I'm good now, you know? And they were just kind of like, okay. They didn't really know. Like, I'm telling you, like my sisters, they went to rehab and stuff and they came out and like, we would like say if we go to a dinner or something, like they would have a drink. Like they had no idea about any of this, you know? And like they opened the book. We kind of did a 10-step every night in like rehab and treatment. Like, you know what I mean? Like the things like you're in the group and like you're talking about like things, but like I said, I wasn't fully like open-minded. Like it was just like, so after 14 days, I called my parents and I was like, I'm good. And they came and picked me up. So I left the night that I got out of rehab. I went and got 30s.
Okay.
So I was like high like that night, you know? And then I was telling my mom like, oh, I needed like, and I have no money, nothing. So I'm telling my mom like, oh, I need $20 for gas. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to an IOP thing, you know, and like, I need $20 for this. But I was just like, drive down to the city and like go, you know. So I get out of rehab and then I get high that night. And then I'm like, think to myself, like, whoa, like Jersey is like a problem. I need to get out of New Jersey. And at that point, my older sister went to a rehab in Florida and she was in a halfway house in Florida. So I was like, let me go visit my older sister. And, you know, like I said, we don't really have like a good, amazing relationship, you know, but now they know that I'm like, I just went to rehab and everything. Like, okay, cool. You know, like, so my sister's in a halfway house doing like good. I go out there to visit. And then like we come to this like decision that we should get an apartment out there together, you know? So we tell my like dad about that plan and we're just like, okay. Cause I'm like I said, he thinks same thing. You need to get out of this place. You got to get out of this town and these feel like, you know? So we get an apartment out in Florida, you know, like I said, and we don't come from money. And my dad like helped us. He got us like a couch and like 2 beds.
Did he pay for the first month's rent and deposit and stuff too?
Yeah.
I mean, he would have had to. Okay.
Yeah, like he helped us. And my sister was working at the time. And so he got us like, I remember like we each had like a bed and a couch or whatever. And then like 30s, like the pill mill out, like at that time,
right. Yeah.
It was just like crazy out there in Florida. Yeah. So I remember just like one night we were just like, okay, like one time, let's just get a 30. Let's just, you know, let's get a blue. And so we got high together. And then I would just say within 2 months, like we sold everything in that house and me and my sister, older sister, were sleeping on an air mattress that had a hole in it. So we would wake up in the morning
on the floor.
Yeah. Like on the floor, you know, and it was just like, whoa, crazy. And then it came to a point where we're lying to each other.
Okay.
You know, she's working and I like really wasn't. I was like just mooching off and like she would like go get like high and like not tell me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What did you do for money? Just nothing?
No. No, I think I was like trying to get a job and then, but she worked in like the restaurant field. Okay. She was a server. Okay. So she was just making all like the money. Okay. And I was looking for a job. Okay. And then I was like, okay, I just remember one day like, oh my God, my sister's crazy. Like she's the problem. Yeah. So I said, I got to get away from her. Yeah. You know, it's just like a thing in my life where it's everybody else's like fault and never mine. So I was like, let me go back to Jersey, like call my parents, like, well, my sister, like Valine is messing up. Like, this is crazy. I need to come back. You know, at this point I am sick. Like I'm getting sick. So I go back to Jersey and my little sister now is home from El Paso. Okay. Like that didn't work out. She's home. She's getting high. So I remember I got home from Florida and I went into her purse and I found dope. Okay. And I stole her dope. Heroin? Not pills. Heroin. Yeah, heroin. Okay. And I stole her heroin and then I was getting high. Okay. And did you sniff it or shoot it on your own? I just sniffed it. Okay. Yeah. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, like we're getting high together, you know, now like she knows. So now I become friends with, you become friends with the craziest, weirdest people. You know what I mean? So now I meet these people and I'm robbing houses. Yeah. But what it is like we go to these rich places like Morristown, you know, and these developments, but I was just like the driver.
Oh, shit.
So I would just drive like these people, these guys that I met, and they would go in, steal all this jewelry, everything. And then I would take them and then they would give me like, I would make like $800 because of this jewelry that they're pawning. You know what I mean? And like, so now I learn about like, where the pawn shops that don't take IDs, you know, I'm learning about where to go, like how to do it. You knock on the houses, you see if they're home, you go through, like, you know what I mean? Like,
totally. So they were looking for houses that didn't have people in them. So it wasn't home invasions. It was burglaries. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I mean, ideally, there's no one home.
Yeah. Okay. A couple times people were home.
Right.
And it was scary.
Yeah, very.
You know, and like, it's my car that's like parked.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was definitely just sketch. I didn't like want to do it, but I would do it. And then we would go to Hollister, steal clothes and then return it, get a gift card. And then I find somebody to give me like, you know, half of the gift card, you know, like just
all
like
the hustles.
Yeah. So doing all these things, like waking
Hollister
up every day.
is hard to steal from.
Yeah.
Or is it not?
Well, it was so dark.
It's so dark, but don't they all have, I guess not everything has tags on it.
No.
You know what I mean? The little plastic thing.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, because this is like 15 years ago,
Right.
like they like really didn't. It was dark in there and we would just like go in there. I would go into Walgreens, CVS, steal.
I hit those places. I
Yeah.
was afraid of retail places, I think, but I definitely would steal from CVS, or I would look for receipts in the trash can outside. And if it was a cash receipt, you know, try to steal the thing and return it for the cash. All the things.
Yeah.
I just didn't really do the retail thing. I think that kind of scared me.
Yeah. Go to Walmart, buy something, write a check for it, and then return it, and they give you like cash. They ask how you want it back.
Okay.
So I would do that.
That's a good. They definitely weren't doing that by the time I was going to Walmart's.
Yeah.
I don't think. But I definitely didn't have a checkbook. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God, it was just like, and then just doing things like that. Then at that point, my older sister comes back. It's chaos in the family. My dad has to fly out there, drive back the car like with her. Like, she is chaotic. The focus is on her again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always like, so now she comes back, and at this point, all three of us now are like getting high together. And I had that get down with that group. So I was the one now. Like, there's always like the one sister that is supplying for everybody because it's a weird, sick thing. And people, a lot of the comments on the Dr. Phil thing, people say like, oh, like you're sick, like you're the older sister and you're doing this to your little sister and you're doing this to them. But like, honestly, like it's sick, but I don't want my sisters to be dope sick.
Right.
I don't want them to be, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's such a like a fucked up thing, but yeah, dude, we're going to take care of each other. And it is in a really fucked up way. Yeah. But like, that's just like.
I understand that though. I shared this a few weeks ago. I actually had a friend whose son was dope sick. He was like 18 and she sold heroin and she didn't realize he was using, and he was dope sick one day. And she told me, we were like smoking meth together, and she like confessed, and she felt so bad about it. She was like, I've never told anybody this. I got him well. He's my son, and he was so sick. And I just remembered the torment on her face. It wasn't an easy decision. But also, when you're in that lifestyle, doing the right thing is giving them dope. Yeah. The shitty thing would be to not break someone off. Yeah. That's what would be crappy. Yeah, like in our world, in that world. Yeah. You're actually doing the nice thing to like help someone. Random question. Did you guys share a room?
Like, yeah, we lived like in a small little house, and it was like a 3-bedroom. So there was always like somebody sharing a room. But like, since I was the one that was living at home, my little sister, like first kind of my little sister and older sister, they shared a room. They shared
the other room. Okay.
Yeah. But our rooms were connected by this like mirror. Oh, okay. So there was like a closet. If we both opened up our mirrors, we could like see each other. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. My dad does construction. That was pretty cool. Yeah. You know? So like, so we didn't share like a room.
Okay. Did you start using needles at some point during this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like at this point, like, I'm like shooting up. So, and that's another thing, like me and my sisters, like My older sister, she had like Old Faithful vein, like always hit.
I do not.
No, me neither. I have very, very like awful veins. So like just going in my hand, it was just like always like really just awful for me. Yeah. So, you know, there like been times it's like she would shoot me up, hit me in my neck, and like, you know, or she would find a vein for me or something, because I don't know how I would never waste a needle and just muscle it.
No, me neither.
I did when I was getting pulled over.
Too. I didn't even know what that would mean. That's like one of maybe the only times I would have done it. And even then I might not have been smart enough, quick enough, brave enough to try to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people end up doing that. And I just can't even, like my first sponsor, she was really sick flying back from like New York to San Diego or something. And the second she landed, she ran in her boyfriend's car and she demonstrated as she was like, as soon as I got there, bam. And I was like, oh, the craziest part about that story to me is you just jammed it into like your quad right there where you hit. You know, and she was like, yeah, I guess. No, I actually never muscled anything. But I was the same way. I was bad at shooting up. I was like bad. It would take me a long time. I'd be bleeding everywhere. Yeah. Like it was a nightmare.
Yeah. No, that's like how it was for me. It was just like awful. But I would make sure like, oh, I'm going to hit a vein. I'm going to find a vein. Sure. Or like my sisters are going to help me out, you know? But yeah, like there's been times like I've been getting pulled over and I just like muscled it because I was like, wow, if I'm going to go to jail right now, I'm not going to be like dope sick.
Does it matter where you go if you muscle it?
I mean,
I know. Freaks me out.
Yeah.
Does it even matter? Is there a good spot?
Yeah, people will do like their butt, their thighs. You want to do, you know what I mean? Okay. But I would just do it like, just did it like there. That happened a couple times. So so we're all like shooting up and it's just like chaos. But I mean, I get a job. I'm working at this like, it's just like a, have you ever heard like a Wawa?
It's a restaurant,
it's
right?
It's
like a fish
I want to say
place?
It's like a nicer like 7-Eleven.
Oh, okay. But no.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, there was just like a bunch of like, I'm working at like a convenient.
I'm thinking of Wahoo, the taco place.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay. I'm working at like a convenient like store and I'm like kind of like a cashier and like making hoagies and like, you know, just like, it just blows my mind because like I said, back in high school, like I was like popular, had a lot of friends, very smart, graduated like, you know, top of my class, like people would never thought like that's where I would be. So that's why I hid it for so long. Everybody in town knew like about like my sisters, but no one knew about like me, Amanda, like, you know, so I like hid it. I mean, at this point, like once you're doing like heroin for so long, like you can't hide it. I looked like I was so pale. I'm wearing long sleeves in the summertime, you know, like I'm working like there, like didn't want to see anybody. It was just like, and then I'm in and out of jail. Okay. I'm getting arrested a lot.
What do you start getting arrested for?
So going to Camden a lot, like, you know, and the cops are going to see like this white girl and like they know my car now at this point, and like I'm constantly getting pulled over. I had dope on me, like I've gotten arrested so many times with like
possession.
Yeah, possession. Okay. And then like the cops like knew me. He's like, okay, I'm just going to give you this ticket, like a ticket like with something hanging on my mirror. They were just like, I'm going to give you this, like trying to give me a break, you know, like then like my license is suspended. This is funny. Actually, one time when I went out to Camden, I got pulled over and the cop is like, put your window down. I'm like, I can't put my window down because it was, I don't even know.
It's like broken somehow.
It was broken somehow. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't put my window down. But at that point, my car also, you had to jump my car to start it. So he's like, okay, open the door, turn the car off. I said, I can't turn my car off either. And he's like, are you serious right now? And then he asked for my license. It's suspended. Right. Oh my God. I have like two other white girls, like my sister and like this other chick in the car. And they're like, you need to get out of here right now. They give me some dumb ticket. They're like, get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore. Blah, blah, blah. What do? I like just pull up a little bit, go park somewhere. We go cop dope. There's like no way we're leaving without dope here. Totally. You know what I mean? But like, just like the insanity of like that, you know?
That situation. Yeah.
And then, so now like, you know, I'm getting pulled over out
but there. Sometimes you are going to jail. Sometimes they actually take you.
Yeah, I go to jail, but the jails were like full. So I was getting ROR'd.
Oh,
so I would just be in there for like 8 hours or something.
Oh, shit.
Do you know what I mean?
And you didn't have to bail out. They would just let you go.
Yeah. I would just get ROR'd out, like just released because, and then have to like now like a court date, you know, but it's just kind of like whatever.
Would you go to court?
No.
Okay.
Not go to court, nothing, no.
So now you're getting warrants for failure to appear.
Yeah,
Okay.
now I'm getting warrants. Now I'm like nervous, like, oh my God. So it was just like one night, and like now my parents, like, they know what we're doing. It's like chaos in the house. I'm talking, my mom's working at a bank. We're calling her work saying, you need to give us $40. Do you know what I mean? And we're going to figure out a way to get like money for the rest of stuff, but we need to get some gas and cigarettes, and we need to get something to get as well, because I couldn't even do anything. I'm talking like, and it's how little and dumb it is that like, and my dad would always say like, why won't you guys shower? But it's just like, dude, when you're dope sick, you don't want to shower, right?
Can't do anything.
But then when you're super high, you don't want to shower because you don't want to fuck it up.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? It was just like a lose-lose thing, you know? So,
So wait, you would tell your mom, we need to get well?
yeah.
Okay. So she knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like fighting with us. Like I'm talking fights of like, you know, her and my dad are fighting. That's why I'm shocked they're still married. They actually love each other. They went through that gnarly stuff with us, you know, like they're fighting. I'm talking, there's times when like me and my mom, I'm like pulling her purse saying like, give me your fucking purse now. You know what I mean? Like, and like then my dad's just like, just stop. He doesn't understand. Like, why can't we just stop? Like, and then like I would come home, you know, my dad dumped out my whole trash in my room. And he found like empty bags, and he found like, you know, bloody tissues and like needles, or like the tips of them or something, like, you know, the orange cap of the needle. And like, he would be there on the kitchen, like when I came home from somewhere, and it's just like an argument, like, what's this? And you know what I would say? Ew, you went through my trash. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're disgusting. You went through my trash. But like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know, but like, that's just like where it was. It was just like, oh my, like that's, you know, like, ew, why would you do that? But like, yeah, there's a bunch of bags there. Like it was so chaotic in my home.
But they didn't kick you guys out?
No. And like now, like later on, like talking and asking, it's just like, you got to think like my dad, it was almost like, you know, my dad didn't want to kick his little girls out. And it was almost like they were just, if we were out there homeless, like my dad he wanted to, but my mom like rather us be high in the house. You know what I mean?
Than missing on the streets.
Yes. Than missing on the streets. And that's like exactly like what it is. And in this time, like me and like my sisters have went to detoxes and stuff again. Okay. But I'm talking like I'm going to a 7-day detox that like we have no money, we have no insurance. Yeah. So I'm going to a 7-day detox that's like I'm talking like cockroaches like on the ground, you know, and like I'm just like dope sick there. And then I meet like somebody in there from like that goes to like like, you know, that goes to the hood. So then I get out and I know where to connect with them to get like high with. And then, but I'm getting out and my sisters are still getting high. So I'm going to get high with them. My little sister go to detox, or my older sister, they get out. We're all going to get high together again. Yeah. You know, like it was just if one of us, so it was just like a never ending cycle. Totally. Of us like getting high. And then one night it was another fight in the house. It was just insane fight. And like my dad like threw like all the spoons were missing in the house. Yeah, so all the spoons were missing, or they were like bent up, you know, and because we would go to a needle exchange actually in Camden, and we would get like, they would give us the little like cotton swabs, a little like, you know, all the works, like everything, you know, for us, and the tourniquet, like everything. But sometimes, so all the spoons were missing. And I remember just one night, it was just like a fight, and my dad like threw a spoon or whatever at the wall. Like it actually like put like a little hole in the wall. Like it was just chaotic. Right. And I was like, oh my God, I went into the living room, and we had like, cause I had like an old phone back in the day, like a Nokia, like flip thing. Like, you know, I remember going to the living room on like our desktop computer. I'm talking like with the big back, like not like a flat, like, you know what I mean? This computer that we've had forever. And I go on, I write a letter to Dr. Phil.
Okay, so couple of questions. Mm-hmm. One, did you want to do something when you were in high school? Did you have a goal or an ambition for like a career? Okay. What did you want to do? I wanted to be a dental hygienist. Okay. Yeah. The reason I'm asking that is, so you're working at that convenience store. You're embarrassed. Yes. You did also have a dream that you wanted to do that you're not doing. Yes. by the time that you write the letter, did you start thinking, holy shit, I am actually a drug addict? There's not a difference between me and them or anybody that I saw at that first rehab. I have a real problem and I don't know what to do. Did you want to stop and feel like you had a problem?
Yeah, I wanted to stop only because, like, I don't know about you, but like the hardest thing to hear is like, and it was from my dad, is like the word of like, I'm disappointed in you. Yeah. When someone's disappointed, like that's just the worst, especially like my dad, you know? So like at this point, I'm the victim. Like my life sucks. Like this, I can't believe this happened to me. Like I hate myself too. Like, you know, and like just all like, I'm going to kill myself, like threatening to, like, you know, I would say all this stuff. Like it was just like, poor me, poor me. At that point, like, yeah, like I knew this isn't normal. Like this is so chaotic. My older sister has a daughter at this point.
Oh,
and
whoa. Does she live with you guys?
No, she's like lives with her dad and she would like visit like with us, you know, we'll come see like, you know, my parents and stuff. And like, yeah, it was like, it's just like a whole thing. Like, and we did some like messed up things, like just taking her to cop. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all these like situations, and it's just like awful, you know? What
made you think of Dr. Phil?
So my dad was always obsessed with like Dr. Phil. Okay. So we always watched Dr. Phil. Okay. And like there would be like, we would come home, he would put like cut up like newspaper articles or whatever of like Dr. Phil, like put it on like, you know, the kitchen table or something. We would see, remember newspapers? Yeah. So he,
for you guys to read, or just stuff that he thought was interesting?
No, for us to read.
Okay.
Like a
about
lot
addiction
of,
and stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So my dad like always watched Dr. Phil. Okay. And I was just like, I mean, it was a total, I was like, hi, just like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to write this like letter.
That's crazy.
And I sent a picture, which like, I'll have to like show you, find like the picture I sent, like of me and my sisters, like you looking at us, we don't look like we're junkies. Do you know what I mean? So like just this 3 like normal sisters. Right. And I just wrote this letter saying like everything we do, like, I mean, like we're getting high now, we're meeting like older men to get money, you know, I'm like robbing houses, we have nothing, like my parents, like it's chaos in the house, like it was just like insane. So I don't even know. I would love to actually like get the letter from them, from Dr. Phil, to see, because you go on the website and you like submit the letter.
Through the website.
Yeah. So I don't even honestly know what I said, but I wrote this letter and just said a bunch of stuff. And I wrote this letter probably when I was like 23. Okay. I sent the letter in. I moved on with my life. I wrote this letter and I was just like, whatever, we're getting high. All these awful things are happening. And then 2 years later.
Wow.
2 years later. And like, I tell it like this, but it's not really how like it went. Like, but 2 years later, we get a call from the producers of Dr. Phil. Basically, I get a call and it's like, oh, are you still pieces of shit? Like, yeah. And like, hey, like, we want to do a show on addiction. Whoa. You know, so it took 2 years. That's crazy. That's like so I just got arrested down the street from my house with dope. So I'm just in jail like quick. And then I get out. My little sister was just in jail for 4 months. She just got out. And I had a voicemail from the producers of Dr. Phil. Wow. And I was like, wait, no way, this is real.
I can't believe you even still have the same phone number.
Yep.
Most addicts don't. You know what I mean? Fortunately, you did.
Yeah, had the same phone number. I actually had that phone number for a while when I was out here, and then I changed it. Yeah. I had a voicemail, and then I listened to it. Me and my sisters were just like, what? This is crazy. We tell my parents. They're kind of like, this is crazy. You know, because we're not really talking to like it's just very like my dad would get up, go to work. We would go like cop dope, get high, do what we had to do. Then we're like just home all day getting high. My dad, we hear his truck pull up. Like we had a rock driveway. We hear like his truck pull up and immediately like try to get up. We're like trying to clean, do dishes, do something like you know what I mean? Like we would pretend to go to meetings at night. We have like one car we're sharing. My dad's done. He's like, I'm not putting insurance on the car. My dad is a very like person like that thinks that everybody should either go to jail, like prison for a while, or go into the Navy or the Army or whatever. Like fun fact, like I was going to sign up for the Navy because I thought like that was going to like fix me, and me and my dad went in and I never ended up doing it. You know what I mean? But like I was like going to. Yeah, they call us, and like I said, I just got arrested. My little sister just got out of jail. I called them back and they're like, we want to do a show on addiction next week. And like, will you guys be on the show? And we were just like, oh my God. I honestly, when it all happened, when we got asked, I didn't realize the extent of what was about to happen. Yeah. You know, but all I knew was that we were going to go on the show, and then we were going to get sent to rehab, and we were going to get help because, you know, out here now, a lot of people like, we didn't have insurance and we didn't have money.
I never had insurance or money to go to rehab. People
that's what I'm
saying. Think about that. You can't just go.
No. But that's what I try to tell some of these girls like that I sponsor and stuff, that they just have like their parents and they have health insurance and they go into treatment. And I'm like, dude, I would have killed for this at your age. And
I know.
You know, so so we didn't have anything, and we just knew, all we knew is that we were going to go to rehab. Like we didn't think about anything else. Yeah. Like of what was about to go down. Yeah. You know, because it's television. Yeah. It's TV. Yeah. So they said, we're going to have a camera guy come out to you guys and just follow you around for 2 days. Yeah. So like shout out to Steve, the camera guy. He came out and he just followed us around like our normal get down. So we convinced our parents like to do it. Like, I don't know. They were still kind of just like, you know? Yeah. It started getting real when they like had the camera guy fly down and we started to do like interviews. We begged him for money. He would not give us money.
The cameraman?
Yeah. Okay. He wouldn't give us money. We wouldn't let him follow us in the Camden. Oh, okay. Because it's too like sketchy.
You can't, yeah.
But you could see on the show, like they had to send clips in. So like I had like my little camera out, like when we were out there, you know, or like my, just like this like phone or whatever. Yeah. He just like, we started to do the interviews, like, you know, with like the lights they set up. Yeah. And then they put the backdrop there, and then they're just like asking us all these questions, and like everything was like real. When the camera guy, it was just one camera guy, he followed us around, and like he didn't have us do anything weird. The only weird thing that he asked of us, which we didn't normally do, is he asked us all to get high in the same room.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So we all got
And you normally didn't do that?
No, because like I had like shitty veins. Right. And I just like to be by myself to like get high. Okay. But what it would be is like I would be in my room, and maybe like my sister would be out in the living room or in a room. And like after we would get home from Cop and Dope, get high, like one of us, like my like sister would be like, Amanda, like just to make sure.
Oh, all right. Okay.
You know? So he asked us all to get high in the same room together.
Okay. So they film you hitting and they film you registering and
everything. Yeah. Wow. Like you can see it on there. Like my little sister was shooting in her legs at the time, and like just you see it all. Wow. You see like me mixing it up, like everything, doing it like all. Wow. I show like all my empty bags because I saved all the stamps. You save all the empty bags because when times would get tough, I would scrape them. Yeah. And I could get like a little bit in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And at that point, like, you know, like I was just shooting water just to not feel sick. Totally. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just the ritual. Yeah. It's the ritual of doing everything, which I thought I could never get over. You know what I mean? Like, it was just the whole process that I really loved.
The process of cooking a shot and registering and drawing back. Me too.
Yeah.
I also really loved all that.
I loved that all, you know? So that was the only weird thing that he asked us to do. Everything else was like, you know, real. And then like the interviews like started happening, and like then on September 9th, 2014 is when we filmed the show. So we flew out on September 8th.
To LA? Where does it film?
LA, in Hollywood.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So they flew you three out. Did they bring your parents too?
Yeah. Oh, they flew my parents out first on the 7th. Okay. And then they flew us out on the 8th. Okay. You stay on like off of like the Hollywood Boulevard at the Roosevelt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a nice hotel.
I know. So they put us in a room, and then they put my parents in a room, and then they don't give you any money. Like the only thing what the producers give you, and the whole time we're talking to the producers, never Dr. Phil, like ever. It's only the producers. Right. And then they give you like $60 on a card, like for the Roosevelt, like a meal ticket thing. That's like it. That's the only thing that they give you.
Did you bring dope with you?
Yes, we brought dope.
Okay.
So we brought...
How did you pack it?
In our suitcases.
Wow. Okay.
And I remember, like I said, my parents were already flew out here because they did interviews and stuff with them like first and stuff out here. And then they flew us out the next day. And I remember the whole plane ride there, I was like throwing up. I was very sick because I was so nervous about the dope. Like I'm talking like my sister flew like 20, me and my sister and each of our luggage flew 20 bags of dope. My little sister had like 10 bags of dope. She was
that
like,
you checked your bags or carry on? Checked. Okay.
We checked and like she did. So when we split it up, like, but dude, like that's when they get you, like when your bags drop down and like there's be a dog out there or something. Yeah. But like, dude, the second we landed and I saw like my bag just drop down, I was just like that instant relief. Just felt like so much better. I was just like, oh my God, this is so nice. You know, thank God. So the 8th, and we were just like getting high all day. We went and walked down and saw the like, you know, the stars. Dude, I had pictures of my mom, me and my mom and sisters standing next to Mickey Mouse. Yeah. Like in Donald Duck you know, we're going to the souvenirs. We're going to a souvenir shop and like looking in there, like just like like surreal. Like, do you know what's about to happen right now? Like, I don't even think we've realized what was about to happen, you know? So then on September 9th, like in that morning, we go to we go on set. They pull us in the back. They do like makeup and hair. They dress you as well. We did our last shot. Like before we walked in, we thought they were going to search us.
Did they film that or no?
No.
Okay.
When we got there.
Yeah, I guess it's illegal to have it on set. They wouldn't show that. Okay.
When we got there, they said we had to bring our suitcases and everything. Like check out of the, so we brought our suitcases to like the set. And then they said, do you have anything in here? And we were like, no, like, cause we did just get high. Okay. And they like kind of checked our bags a little bit. And we were just like, okay, but then we go in, we do hair, makeup, it's kind of getting real. And then I remember my parents, they went out first onto the stage, and like, we're in the back, we can't hear anything, see anything. And then they're like, okay, girls, like it's your time. After like them being on there for like 15 minutes or something, they're like, okay, it's your time. Like we walk out on set. This is the first time I'm seeing Dr. Phil. I just see the audience, like all the people. And in the back, my parents are sitting in the chairs. There's Dr. Phil. In the background with the big screens, it's just us shooting heroin.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And like my parents have never seen us shoot heroin. Wow. Except one time my mom saw me like trying to hit because my dad took all the door knobs off of the doors in the house. So we couldn't shut our doors, lock them, nothing. So there was like a hole there open, but like I would cover it up, Yeah. And my mom like tried to get in once and I was like getting high or whatever. So she just saw that. That was it. She's never seen us shoot up nothing. Yeah. On the big screen. We're shooting heroin. Wow. Yeah. And like, I was just like, oh my God. And then like the audience is just like nothing. Like no one's clapping for us. Like no one's clapping.
Did they boo you guys or anything? When you walked, sometimes they'll like boo people.
No, they didn't boo. There was one time, because like then when we walked on stage, like there's Dr. Phil. He like shakes our hand. It's the first time we're seeing him. Wow. Homie is very orange. Yes. He has a lot of makeup on. Okay. Yeah. So we shake his hand. We sit down. Then like I'm just looking across. We're sitting across from my mom and dad, still behind us, and like behind them, I could see us shooting heroin. You know what I mean? And then it's just like my dad just like. So it's just like, oh my God. And then Dr. Phil starts like going in on us, asking us questions. Are we high? How did it get here? Did you drive on the roads? Like this is the time the audience like was pissed at us. Is that Dr. Phil's like, you drive under the influence, like getting high? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, on my roads, where it could be my grandkids and my kids. And like anybody could die. And then the audience is just like clapping like, yeah, like to him. Oh my
gosh.
And then they're like showing things on there. Like then Dr. Phil stands up. He's like, okay, these sisters are doing this. And like, let's watch this clip. And then like watch the clip of us going to meet like this guy to go whatever, to get drugs and like, or to get money, to get high. So like, then you just see the audience's face or just like,
oh, a guy that you were...
Yeah, like a sugar daddy.
Oh, they showed that?
Yeah.
Okay, which one of you guys was with the guy?
It was my older sister, but I was driving there to meet, because like I said, the camera guy just came out for 2 days, and it was just happened like my older sister was meeting a guy that night. She kind of had like a regular guy that she did. You know,
did your parents know about that?
No.
Oh Lord, of course not. Oh Lord, what do they show? What do they show?
They just show us like driving up to like the place, like the hotel, the motel,
and her just getting out of the car.
Yeah, and just going.
And you two in the car, like she'll be back in a minute, or like whatever.
Yeah. And then she like comes out. Yeah, they just show us like meeting. Like they don't know the full extent of like what was happening, you know, but still like, you know, no one wants to know that their kids are doing that to their, you know what I mean, to get money. And like, so then Dr. Phil, it's like a TV. So Dr. Phil is also now like yelling at us, like, you know, and then blaming my parents a lot.
Oh, no.
Like, it's just like, you know, like, of course, the whole title, like if you watch, like when you watch it, like at the bottom underneath like the Dr. Phil symbol on like TV, it says #enablers. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So like it says that.
So what kind of stuff is he saying to them? You enabled them. You should kick them out of the house.
Yes, you should have kicked them out. Like, what are you doing, Dad? You need to grow a pair of balls. Yeah. And my dad's like, I know, you should have kicked them out. And then saying to my mom, like, you know, you give these girls money. My mom's like, yeah, well, I'll give them $20 for gas and cigarettes. You know, like, and it is enabling, but like they're blaming my parents.
Whoa.
And then he's just going in on us, like, you know, just saying like all these like things, you know, it's just like TV. He's basically just saying like, okay, you guys are pieces of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's kind of like a fun fact. I only watched the show ever like fully twice.
Okay. Is it hard to watch for you?
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I was in rehab, and I watched it like because it aired when I was in treatment. Yeah. And I watched it with like my case manager, like a staff, my sponsor, my therapist, and we watched it, and it was like so hard to watch.
It was.
You know? Yeah. And then I watched it one other time where they played it at a treatment center, and then I shared or whatever about it and talked about it. That was the only time. And then I've watched clips of it.
Okay.
But then other than that, I haven't fully like watched it all the way through.
What do you feel when you watch it? Or what did you feel when you were in treatment or that other time?
I mean, so you don't know what anybody says in the private interviews. So like my mom, like Cher is like, you know, talking, and she's just like, I hate my daughters. They're junkies. Like they're like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, and then my dad's just sharing how awful it is that like we, you know, they're beautiful girls. They are smart. They played sports. They like, how did they get here? How did they do this? Yeah. You know? So like, and then just like my little sister and my older sister just saying like, you know, they don't want to do this. They're miserable. They're all, you know what I mean? So like, it was just really, and it's just cringe.
Yeah.
You know, it's super cringe to watch, because I'm also like saying in there, like in an interview, like, yeah, I heard like this person died from like this set, like using dope from this set. So that's the set I want to go get that dope, you know, and just like how I was talking, you know, like I'm like high the whole time. So the heroin, like
oh my God.
In my mouth, you know, the mouth, the like droop. I don't even think I can do it anymore. And just like the voice of just like, yeah, this is that. So it was just like, it was just like so cringe. And so, but what was the hardest thing is knowing that millions of people are about to see me because I hid it for so long. Yeah. My older sisters are like the fuck ups, not me. Everyone was about to know about me.
Yeah.
So that's when, so we filmed the show, and then we all got sent to rehab.
That moment?
Yeah. After we walk off set, I literally walk off stage. Like they hand me my luggage, and I say goodbye to my sisters and my parents, and I get into a limo, and they drive me to Orange County.
Okay.
I don't know how they picked where each of us went.
Yeah, interesting.
I went to an all-women's treatment center.
Okay. Where did those two go? What cities?
So my older sister went to Origins in South Padre Island, Texas.
Oh, so they flew her somewhere.
They flew her. Okay. They had a nurse fly with her. Like they flew her there. My little sister went to Orange County as well.
Okay.
But we didn't like drive together. We were separate, like, you know. So like then I just get off and go into this limo, and I just head down to Orange County, and then I get dropped off at a rehab, and then boom, like now I'm in a detox, and now life is like happening. I'm in this rehab. And
are they filming you in detox and in rehab?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Like that's it. We're done. You know what I mean? But then I go to detox for like 14 days. I was like so sick. At this point, I'm doing heroin for 2 years straight. Never like a break, like a quick 7-day detox here and there, maybe a 14-day treatment, like, you know, but like, so I'm like super sick. It's awful. I can't sleep. I'm 104 pounds. That's when they start doing like all the marketing for the Dr. Phil thing. So everybody on Facebook is sharing it. Now it's just that clip. You get the clip like that. The show is about coming. The show is going to air on this date.
And you're on Facebook. You have a Facebook.
I have like I got my phone after 30 days. You got to, in treatment, you have to wear steps 1, 2, 3.
Right.
And then you get your phone.
Mine too. Actually, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like I got a phone. I'm seeing it and everybody's like, I'm talking thousands of messages on Facebook. People saying all this, like, you know, just like, oh, we're praying for you guys. We're here. Like, we're basically now like the talk of the town. And what really sucks and what people forget is that me and my sisters, we're in these places, right? We're in treatment. We're getting help. We're getting better, right? We get to go to rehab. My parents go back home to that hometown. Where the show is about to air, and now the Holloways are the talk of the town, you know? Wow. And then I'm looking at this like underneath, like, you know, Dr. Phil Facebook page, like they post the preview and now it's like news articles, everything. And like, then I start reading all the comments and people were just like, oh, these girls should die. Oh, like this dad is this mom is that. I can't believe that. Like these sisters, like just like awful comments.
Oh my God.
And like, it has 3 million like views, just the clip.
Gosh.
And then everybody in my hometown is sharing that clip. Like, oh, these girls, do you remember these girls? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just like, holy crap. Like that's what all I could think about was that this is about to happen. Like me, like my shit's getting put out there, you know?
Totally.
So my parents aren't really taking our phone calls because all they ever knew is like us going to treatment, calling, saying we're good, pick us up, like nothing, you know? My mom's not asking us how we're doing. Like they're like upset. They're stuck in this town, you know what I mean? And it's just, they don't want to go to the local, they don't even want to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just how real that this is that this is happening. That because everybody watches Dr. Phil.
Totally.
You know, and when I met my husband, like when we first started dating, and then his mom was like, oh, like send me a picture of her. And he sent a picture of me to his mom. And then his mom, like an hour later, texts back and said, whoa, tell her she looks way better than she did on Dr. Phil. My mother-in-law. Wow. Isn't that funny? So like she saw it and
but
like
she looked it up or she remembered that
she
episode?
Remembered.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that so? A lot of people have seen it. So that's just like, so yeah. But when I got into rehab, basically they introduced me, like, you know, they take us to meetings. Right. So I work a 12-step program.
Okay. And you had never done that prior to this?
No, never. I mean,
I've gone to meetings,
I've gone to meetings, never opened a book, never got a sponsor, never opened the book, you know, nothing. And at this point, you know, in rehab, I just remember they took us to a meeting. All the girls, it was like a mixed meeting. All the girls got all like dressed up. Like I was just like, I don't even know. It was just like this moment, like I said, like a total like God moment. Like I had nothing. I was like in sweatpants and just like I had these like long, like dark hair, side part, breaking out, detoxing still. I raised my hand and I was like, I need help. Like I'm struggling and I need help. And I just remember when I did raise my hand, like the girls were kind of just like, what is she doing? You know, but like I was in this bougie, they sent me to a bougie like rehab with a chef with all these young girls. I was 25 at the time and they're like, you know, 18, 19, 20. Okay. And like, I was just like, I'm not here to like mess around. Yeah. Like I need to like do something different. Yeah. Like I want to die, you know, like I just don't want to live like this anymore. Yeah. So that's when I got a sponsor and like, I like a really like gnarly sponsor and like dove into like the book and just really did the whole deal. Okay. You know, and then I just remember like, I don't know, life started getting like pretty good. It was, and I got this like get well job. Okay. When I had like 80 days sober, I was at a recovery store. Okay. And I was already thinking like, I'm a felon. Like I didn't deal with any of my court stuff yet. Oh, right. Like how am I going to get a job? All this stuff. Got this job. It worked out. I rode a bike there from my sober living every day. And I remember like my whole thing was that like I would get up for my sober living, and I would go to work, and then I would go to a meeting, and then I would come home and just eat something there, and then like get in my twin size bed at 9 p.m. and just like go to sleep and redo it all over again. Right. Yeah. And it was like, I had like almost 4 months and I was in sober living in my twin size bed. And then I got into bed at like 9:30 and I was like, oh my God, I didn't think about getting high today. And that was like the moment of just like, whoa, because when you're getting high, it was like 24/7. I didn't think, I was like, how am I ever not going to get high ever again? You know? So that was like a moment, like a very like spiritual, like moment. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. That routine you just described too is so important in the early days. Just go to bed. Just go to bed. Yeah. And then you wake up with an extra day.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I remember feeling so bored. Like I would be sitting on the couch at my sober living, staring at the TV. Like, what should I be doing right now? I just felt so bored. And I remember my sober living house manager was like, well, yeah, you've been ripping and running for years. Right now you would be hustling or, you know, there'd be a lot of activity. I know it feels like boredom to you right now. Yeah. But like, just sit through this time. Yeah. And he was right. You just go the fuck to sleep, dude. Yeah. Just go to bed and then you have another day and then you start building time. And it sounds so simple, but like, it's true.
No.
You know?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, cause we're so used to chaos.
Totally.
When we're out there. So it was just like, you know, this routine that I had. And it was just, but I also then like, I started to like meet a lot of people, like sober people. And
like in meetings and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I fellowshipped super hard, you know, and like it was very
Orange County has a really strong 12-step scene too.
Yeah, very. And it was also very humbling because like I said, like I didn't have a license or anything. I didn't have anything. Like I said, I don't come from like anything. I had to like work, do this, all these things. Like my parents like couldn't help me. So like it was just humbling to like, I had to ask people for rides, you know, and then I'm like stuck with them. Like they're like, go to a meeting and then they're going to the diner. And so then I'm like going and then I'm meeting all these people, things I didn't want to like do, but I was just like doing them, you know? So, and then also actively working steps and like, I don't know, just super open-minded about it all. Cause like I don't know, like my higher power, which I do call God, it was a very like you know, like, oh God, please don't let me get pulled over right now. God, please let me get higher. Like, you know, like all these like things, that was like my connection with that. So, but what I started to realize is like all these little moments, like I have major God moments. And I know I've said that multiple times, like talking is like, there's so many God moments in my life, but like, dude, who the fuck gets sober going on Dr. Phil? Who writes a letter and then 2 years later
it actually comes through?
So like that's what it was just like how that placement is, you know? And then
so you saw that as a miracle at the time.
Yes, I was totally just, and then I met a girl, I'm talking to a girl, like, you know, I hear your story and it's like, okay, she's a junkie like me. She has 3 years sober right now. She's like happy, has this, like, I don't know, man, how does she do that? You know, like, and obviously it's not on her like own, like, you know, so I was just like, whoa, okay, she's just like me and she's sober. And if she can do it, then maybe I can too, you know?
Totally.
And like, it's important that like I'm doing all these things because a lot of the girls in my sober living, I would get up and do this, go to work, meet and come home. Like I'm making myself like a frozen meal, like, you know, but they're still in the same spot. They're just, and then they're going to go get in their BMW that their parents like flew their car out, you know, they're going to get in there because we're all from different states. Right. And they're going to get in their car and they're just going to go down to like, you know, Sonic, get a slushie. They're going to go to In-N-Out and like, you know, and they're doing all these things. Like they're not working, nothing. I would cry. I'd be so resentful. I had to do all this stuff and they weren't. And the reality of it is today is that none of the girls that I got sober with are sober today. Right. And there's actually multiple people that have died, you know, and somebody said to me, a staff, because I did cry about it at my treatment center, said like, Amanda, like, you don't want to be like them, you know, you don't, you know, and I like, and then in the moment it was just like, yeah, I do. I'm jealous. Like, that's what I want. I don't want to do this. This sucks. This is awful. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was very hard. And now, cause that's what, like with almost 10 years now, life is different. It's very different. I'm so far away from the drug and the drink. Do you know what I'm saying? Totally. But like in the beginning, I remember like, it was just like, you know,
it's so hard.
It's so hard.
You don't have anything. You're tired. Taking public transportation or getting rides or whatever. Yeah. It's really hard. And I was in the same boat. Everybody had stuff. but I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, people had new iPhones in sober living.
Yeah.
And I was like, who gave you that phone? Like, I don't have a phone.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if I had that phone, I wouldn't be here. I would have traded it for dope.
Yeah.
You know, I felt the same way. People would get cars from their parents, and that was not my story either. I wasn't. No.
And that's what I still kind of in my head at that point also, I was still, okay, I did want to be sober, like, but I kind of plotted still, like, I wanted to go home and visit. And I was kind of thinking like, okay, I'll go home for 4 days. The first night I land, I'll go do like a 30, just a pill, not do heroin. And then I'll visit my family and come back and be able to pass a drug test, you know, like still like thinking things like that, you know? So for me, it was, I admire people that get sober without like, you know, treatment or anything. I physically had to be like, you know,
removed from your location. Me too.
Yeah. From the drink, the drug, everything. I physically had to, because like it was so hard. I don't even like being away from my hometown. Like, I don't know. It was very good to be in a place where I didn't know. Obviously, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. We could get whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want. But it was very good and important for me to do that. Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't inpatient for 4 months and then sober living for 10. So it did hold me very accountable.
Totally.
I mean, it sucked. I was 25 years old and I was peeing in a cup every other night for somebody sleeping in a twin size bed. I had a curfew, you know, of like 9 p.m., 11 p.m. on the weekends. So like life was like, it sucked, you know, but like it held me accountable.
Absolutely.
And it's what I needed. I know that's why I admire people who just like do it, you know? Yeah. And also I didn't have kids or anything. Like I just had to focus on me. Right. AA became my life. Like it was just, that was just like all I had to focus on. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that I didn't have anything, you know, I came in with like nothing. Right. And like,
it's very simple at that time, though it's the hardest time. It's really simple. Yeah. Like there have been years since then where I look back on that year in sober living, my first year, when I also had nothing and it was so hard and I felt such a fucking loser because I was 34 in that situation, turned 35. Yeah. It's the exact same situation. And I was like, dude, I'm old as shit. Like for real old, you know what I mean? Not for real old, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm old as shit. I don't have anything. But there have been years since then when I look back and I'm like, oh my God, it was so simple though. All I did was I could smoke, because now I don't smoke, right? My husband hates smoking. Plus I teach fucking fitness. It's just not what like most adults do, you know, but I could smoke back then. You know, that's like a big part of it that runs through my mind. I would just be like in the living room at my sober living, go outside the sliding glass door, smoke a cigarette, come back in. It was very simple. I didn't have anything I had to worry about. Yeah. Same. And I'm kind of grateful for that.
Me too.
Sometimes. You know?
No, me too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, just nothing but to focus on myself. And just like the simple. And I even joke now sometimes like, damn, like I wish I can just go to rehab real quick. I know, right? Because like they're telling you what to do. Yeah. Like being told like when to eat, like all these things. You get to go to these groups that are like working on yourself. Right. You know? Totally. And like, yeah, it sounds like a vacation.
Totally.
Right,
of course. Well, and plus you have kids now too. Yes, so it definitely probably sounds like one now. Yeah. So, and I want to catch back up with your life and how everything progresses, but what happens with your sisters? Where they go?
Okay. So my little sister is in Orange County as well. I'm in treatment. They find out that they take us to a meeting one night and my little sister's there and I see her, she's like with her rehab and I'm just like, oh my God, it made me so happy. It was just like to see her, like, this is awesome. Cause like, I didn't have like a phone. I didn't have a phone yet at this time. Like when I saw her at that rehab and then they found out, the staff said that I saw my sister there and then they said I couldn't go to that meeting anymore. Oh, okay. And so that was my first like little like thing in rehab, that because the Dr. Phil, what he says is that you guys are going to be separated and you need to focus on yourselves and you guys will never live back home with your parents. Like made us sign this agreement and that we were going to be separated from each other for a year. Okay. It was just like bizarre. I don't even know. But
no communication even?
Yeah. Like that's what he was like saying, you know, and was just like, but so I see her at a meeting, found out like, oh my God, like we can't see each other anymore. I have a phone now and she has a phone. I get into sober living. They can't really control like that. So like I ride a bike, we meet up and ride bikes together. Like we meet up, ride bikes to see each other because she wasn't far in a sober living, but she is smoking weed. Oh. So she's living.
She tells you that?
Yeah. Okay. And she goes and she's like living with some I don't even know, somebody, she ends up like, she sleeps with the staff at her treatment center. Like, you know, like she just like, and like, she just got out of jail and went straight into Dr. Phil and then straight into rehab. And like, honestly, me and my sister, my older sister, would go to any lengths to like get we can. There's no way in hell we'd be dope sick. Yeah. My little sister, she wouldn't hustle as hard, and she wouldn't have to like, if she couldn't get anything, she would just like sleep all day. Yeah. It was like bizarre. Yeah, I couldn't understand it. I was like, what? No, we have to.
We can't be sick.
Yeah, we have to figure this out. Yeah. So like, she like, I don't know. She starts smoking weed. It's just like, whatever. She decides that she's going to go, like, after like 6 months of being in California, it's not for her. So she goes and lives back with my parents. Okay. My older sister, she's sober, like super sober, super like in program. We talk, we on the phone, we have these conversations about like, it's just different. The lingo when you are like in program, and just like our conversations were just like awesome. It was just like, you know, great. And then she decides, I want to say, I don't know if it was like after her year or if it was 18 months. I don't know when, but like she decides that she's not going to be sober anymore. Okay. So she's going to smoke weed and like drink sometimes. I mean, like they're away from me, you know, like I don't have to deal with it. And I'm already like getting this life. Like I met my now husband when I had like 5-6 months sober. Okay. So, and he had like 3 years at the time. Oh,
so you met him at a meeting?
We met on Tinder.
Okay. And you both happened to be sober?
Well,
that's crazy.
My Tinder profile said, I don't drink, but I'm a good fucking time. Okay. And then he's from Pennsylvania. He's from Philly. So I also like in Tinder somehow had like a Phillies, like I like the Phillies or something. I don't even know. Then he kind of like knew. So he knew I didn't drink, and then he knew was in Orange County from like the East Coast. So then we kind of connected that. Oh, wow. So we met on Tinder. Okay. Didn't really go anywhere, but then I saw him at a meeting. He texted me. I was like, wow, you're pretty. You're pretty in person. Yeah. So then, so then we started like dating or whatever, but he had 3 years at the time. And like I said, now my little sister, like she relapsed, you know, and then my older sister, she decides that she's like not going to be sober. And then my boyfriend, when I took 1 year sober, he decides that he's not going to be sober anymore.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So he was a drug addict. He liked to do heroin. So now he's like, you know, we're dating. He comes from nothing as well. And he is becoming like, you know, successful. And he decides he's going to start drinking. I have 1 year sober, and I'm thinking like, I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. And I stay sober through it. It was a total, like, it was chaotic for sure. That lasted 3 months and he got sober again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we took like a little break, you know, because like, you know, just like when you're drinking and like he started to do some like, you know, like coke and stuff.
You're just not yourself.
Yeah.
Even and it was you're not strung out in fucking Kensington or Camden, you're still not yourself. Usually. Yeah.
But that was like really good for me because I also was thinking to myself that I am a drug addict. I like drugs. Right. Maybe I can drink. And I watched it fall apart. Yeah. And then my best friend, she relapsed. It was like a God moment. Yeah. So God put these people in my life in that moment. Yeah. Like, do you know what I'm saying? That totally. I realized like, okay, wow, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. You know, I'm just going to continue to do what like I need to do. Yeah. And I'm working steps, going to meetings. I'm sponsoring women, very active, doing all these things. Yeah. Not wanting to, miserable. You know, but doing them. He gets sober again, and I'm just still like going through the things. I didn't get my license, so I had 3 years sober.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I had a lot of legal shit to deal with.
Okay. Where were you working? Was it close enough that you could like walk or ride your bike or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Get rides. And
where were you working at that time?
I still was at my Get Well job. Okay. Which today I still work at. I do social media for them. Oh, so it's called The Latest Thing. Okay. And it's a recovery store. Oh, and we ship like a bunch of recovery gifts all around the world, everywhere. And she actually, my boss, Kimberly, has like almost 38 years sober. And she has like the patent for, she created those chips with like the diamonds in them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have one. Awesome. I'll have to show it to you.
Oh, that's really cool.
She makes them, and then we also sell just so many recovery gifts. Okay. And so I was still working there, just like getting rides, doing what I had to do. And then I'm with like the boyfriend, and he's like doing good. He's like, you know, doing program as well. I don't know. Like I have this relationship with my sister still.
Okay.
But they're like, I don't know. So like Dr. Phil thing was like, I've actually been back on the show 4 times. Okay.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. And they went on it once too with me. And the Dr. Phil thing is, since we're all not shooting heroin.
Yeah.
Like we're considered a success story. Okay.
Okay.
They're not completely sober.
Okay.
I am.
But they don't do heroin. Do they still to this day, 10 years later, just drink and smoke weed?
Yeah. But there's been time. They've both been in and out of rehab.
Oh, they have.
Times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Like even, you know, I'm very open-minded now.
Yeah.
But like when we were going back on the show and saying like, oh, like they're sober, that has a different meaning to me because I'm completely abstinent from all mind-altering substances. I haven't had a drink, smoked weed, did anything, you know, in almost 10 years. Right. But my sisters, since they're not like, you know, doing heroin, like they are good, which now like I completely see, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I've
gotten flexible about that over the years too, more so.
Yeah.
I was really strict. Like even when I started the show, my co-host was not in recovery, but I told her, I was like, oh no, we're only going to talk to 12-step people that don't do anything. And then over the years I've been like, oh, there's a bunch of other ways that your life can get better. And that's now I'm a little bit cooler. And you know what I mean? I'm more flexible with it now. Me
too. More flexible, but it is hard when somebody's saying like, oh, that they are all sober. Like
the word sober though, I would just say in recovery.
Yes, yeah. So but like,
yeah, I'm with you.
You know, so it was just like, oh, okay, well, I do all these things and have to put in a lot of work to do this, you know? So it's kind of just like, you know, but like I said, like now it's just like, okay, do what you got to do. But I do believe that like, it's still like people when they do put down the drugs sometimes and don't do this, that their life is still chaotic, you know? So it does, I feel like everybody should work a 12-step program, for sober or not, like whatever, you know, like because it truly does. And it helped like save my life, you know? So, but yeah, we've been back on the show. I've been back on the show more than them because I am so close to LA, you know? And again, just talking to these 2 twin sisters, their parents wrote in because of our episode. Okay. So I went on and like talked to them. I went on and talked to another addict. I went, you know, like
that's kind of cool. Is it like good to see Dr. Phil again? Does he remember you? And it's like, oh, hey, kind of.
I mean, because I feel like he's prepped on it like that day.
For sure.
He was way nicer for sure.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But it still wasn't. I just saw him like walking on the set. It was actually a very cool experience because me being on the stage and being yelled at and the audience all looking and then me getting to go and be in the audience. Yeah. Dude, before the show, they do like a little dance and song and everything.
And to like get you pumped up and stuff?
Getting the audience pumped. And like, we, you know, so it was not pumped. So this was like a whole different experience, you know? Totally. So it was like, being back on the show and like my husband like came with me, you know, cool. Like, and it was just like, it was like cool, you know? So like, we're like growing. Life is getting like good. I get like my license, still at the get well job. You know. Are you
living with him by now?
Yeah. Okay. Living with him now and like things are good. And then I think maybe I had like 5 years. No. 4. After maybe 3 years, I got pregnant. Okay. Yeah. So got pregnant. We bought a house, together. And then we were like, okay.
You bought a house?
Yeah, me and my husband.
How were you guys able to buy a house?
So my husband was doing very well. Okay. Like he started early in like 2013 and got into the vape industry. Oh, okay. Yeah. So he got in.
That's very cool.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like it's cool because he came out here with like $60 to his name, and he's very self-made. Very we bought a house together, and then we're like, okay, we'll try to have like a baby, and like we'll remodel the house, and then by the time then we'll have the baby. Well, I got like pregnant right away, like super fast. And then I was really, really sick when I got pregnant with my son. He's 5.5 now, but I had this thing called hyperemesis gravidarum. So it's like Princess, like Kate Middleton had it. Oh, okay. Amy Schumer, I was going to say. Yeah, she talked about it like more. Okay. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, I hadn't until she spoke about it.
Yeah, so I was very sick. Okay. I'm 5 weeks pregnant, so sick. I'm hooked to an IV at home. I'm hooked to a Zofran pump that goes into my stomach. I never, like, I didn't even know about this. This is like crazy. And so now I'm like pregnant, sober, life is good. However, and you would think that like people think, oh, okay, she's pregnant. It must be super easy to stay sober. It was the hardest time, not like 8 months of my life, like being pregnant, because I was so sick that I wanted to get high so bad.
Okay, that's what led you to. So, because I was going to ask, why was it so hard during that time?
Yeah, because I was so sick physically. When you're physically sick, it messes with you.
It totally does,
because it puts your body in this place where we as alcoholics addicts, we know how to fix it.
Right. Totally.
And not feel that way, you know?
Yeah. I had a gnarly stomach bacteria a couple of years ago and no one believed me. I think because of my history, my actual doctor didn't believe me. I went to the ER twice. The second time they did believe me, but no one believed me. I was in mortal pain. I forget what it's called right now. C. difficile. C. diff is what it's called. It can like kill you. Basically, it can like rupture your intestines. I would be on the floor every night, like fistballed, crying and thinking, I'm just going to get high. I even told my husband, I was like, hey, if I have to keep living like this, like I'm going to get high.
Yes.
Because no one believes me anyways. And this is really it's the same thing. Like that's been the times when I've maybe thought about it more, is if I'm physically sick. So that makes sense. It was when you weren't feeling well.
Yeah. So it messes with you. So at this point I'm sick, whatever. Like, and then I have my son. His name's Robbie. He's 5.5 and he's so stinking cute. Yeah. And I have my son. I'm just so grateful not to be sick anymore. And then as soon as I have like my son, my husband's business partner, best friend, like gets diagnosed. He's like family. He gets diagnosed with brain cancer. He's 30 years old. He's sober. He's got like he has 7 years sober. Okay. He gets diagnosed with brain cancer. That kind of rocks our world because it's my husband's business partner, best friend, so that rocks our world. Then my husband's sister. So my sister-in-law, we're not married yet at this point, but my sister-in-law, like she lived with us at one point, love her. She's great. Like she was amazing, like everything. I tell you this part of the story because she has, she's definitely was one of us, right? Okay. She only knew of me and Rob of like, my husband has been to prison for like 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like stealing, heroin junkies. Like she only knows is like that, like, how like we are. She compared herself
that level of addiction.
Yeah, that level of addiction. And she's seen like, but she was definitely like one of us, and we drink a lot, blackout. It was just like chaotic, but like, so what happens right after I had my son, we try to like convince her to go to rehab. She has a drinking problem, like for sure. Like she just gets crazy and blacks out. So my son is like 3 months old. Was going to fly out to meet him. And like, it just sucks because I know, I don't know about you, but I felt like this, like she ended up killing herself in a blackout. And like, it just like, I just know the feeling, of wanting to. Wow. So that happens 3 months.
She committed suicide?
Yes. Yeah. Whoa. That was like right after I had my son. She was about to meet him. She got to see pictures of him. She was going to meet him. And it sucks because like me and my husband were angry at her because she went to rehab. Actually, we got her to go and she left early. So I always make it very clear to say like to anybody, it doesn't matter what you use or like what you do. Like it doesn't matter the substance of it all, it's just like the reason behind why we do what we do. We all have one purpose of like why we're trying to like be like, like because she didn't drink every night, because she wasn't having the shakes, you know what I mean?
Right, totally.
But she was definitely like one of us, you know? So now my family is forever changed. Oh no. Like sad. It was my husband's like only sister, she was like, his best friend. My in-laws, like, they're like my parents. Wow. They're the best. Like they're forever changed. Yeah. It's not the same. Wow. It just sucks, And so like, that was just like a really rough time in, my sobriety. And like,
you guys knew she was drunk, like you. Yeah. Okay. It was clear she did this while intoxicated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cause she was like with somebody that night, like getting really drunk, and like, it's just like, I don't know, just really, So, and then my husband's business partner dies.
Oh no.
From brain cancer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he lived like 18 months, and it was just like, you know, and then but we got engaged, and then we got married like 2 months after. We got married in September 6th, 2020. We got married. But like I said, we've been together for 9.5 years because I met him when I was like 6 months sober. So, and we got married, and yeah, it was just crazy because the day after our wedding was his like service. It was just like, you know what I mean? But and it was just really rough because then like my sister-in-law wasn't able to be at the wedding either, you know, totally. Like everything was super fresh. But you know, I don't know, like obviously I'm like living life, and I have all these friends, you know, it's a lot of sober moms, you know, since I had a kid, and now like, you know, life just changes. Now I'm like this sober mom, right? Yeah. And then my sisters, you know, they are doing like, okay, you know, my little sister went to rehab again. At this point, she's, you know, smoking crack and doing heroin again. Okay. So she goes to rehab, and my older sister like is still holding it together. And then from all my wedding, I had these dresses, and they had pockets in them. And then they left the dresses, their bridesmaid dresses, at my house. And I remember like I wore the dress to go to this sober princess event. Okay. And I go into the pocket, and there's kratom. There's drugs in there. Oh, shit. So, like, my sisters have both been addicted to, like, kratom. Kratom pills or powder? Or pills. Is it like, okay, yeah. Okay. So, and, like, that's a whole new thing. How did you even know what it was? At that point, my older sister, like, she had a detox from it. Okay. Like, you know, so I found out, like, this is after. I'm just like, okay, wow, you guys were high. Like, then, you know, like. That is a whole new thing, but you started to say that. It's like a whole new thing. And it's, like, absolutely, you know, insane. And basically, you know, how bath salts are to meth, it's like synthetic meth is. So like kratom is basically synthetic heroin. Yeah. And you can buy it at a gas station and just go and get it. Yeah. And like, yeah, so that's like a whole new thing. So like they've also been like addicted to that. And then my older sisters, both of my sisters now live in Texas. Okay. So like, and they're actually coming to visit next week, actually. Wow. Yeah. And they're both doing like, well, we have a great relationship now. Do I wish that they would be completely sober? Absolutely. But like whatever they're doing now is working. My little sister just bought a house. My older sister bought a house a couple years ago. She has a fiance. She has another daughter. Wow. You know, like things, life is still happening for them, and like living. There has been moments that I'm just purely like, oh my God, like if you would just do this and be sober. Yeah. So it's really hard. Yeah. With family, it's really hard. With blood, my sisters, it's really difficult. With sponsees, friends, I can pray for them. I can like fully kind of like, you know what I mean? But it's way harder with like blood, you know? So, wow. I know. What do you think the difference was for you and them? Do you think that there was some sort of internal difference with like your dispositions and your attitude? Or do you think it was, my guess would be, it's simply because you got to stay in treatment for longer? Mm-hmm. That's really fucking important. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, though. What do you think? Why do you think it worked for you and not them? I definitely think that. Yeah. But I will tell you also what I think it is, and it's just my truth, is that me and my husband have money. And honestly, I don't care what people say. And like, there's this in a part in a song of like, this is very controversial, but like there's a part of the song of like Ariana Grande sings this song. It's like, whoever said money can't solve your problems must have not had enough money to solve them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like the truth is that the one where she's like, I want it, I got it. Yeah, I know that like, part. Ew. I know that part. Like, ew, very hair. Just bought it. Yeah, I know that song. I know that song because when it fucking came out, everybody at my spin studio wanted to play it in classes. And I was like, I ain't playing this. No, but I know the song you're talking about. Yeah. So very like, exactly. And like, but I think that's a lot of like what they think. Okay. They're like, okay, Amanda has this like privilege of this and she can do this in life. Like, you know what I mean? And like, you know, honestly, like I haven't had to struggle like with that. And, you know, financial fear is like a huge like thing. And it really messes with like a lot of people. Right. Yeah. And the thing is, though, is that I don't like, no one would know that about me. Okay. Right. That's one thing that also, you didn't know that about you. Okay. So if you go to day one, the day after you guys leave the set, you're all in the same position. You may be in a different place now. Yeah. You guys were in the same position on those days. Yeah. It wasn't helping you then. Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. So, and that's why I think I fully dove into program and did that. And I definitely think, because that's why I don't know how they picked who went to where, but like for Velvet, this lady Velvet who owns Safe Harbor Treatment Center, she scholarshiped me for 4 months inpatient, 10 months sober living, and I am forever grateful for her. I still see her like around. She like saved my life in that way, because also like I could save, you know what I mean? But I'll tell you that like my sisters definitely like think that like, okay, Amanda doesn't, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't have any problems, you know? But the thing is like, you know, none of that does like matter. Like I remember like going to a meeting, like literally walking to a meeting, and it was so hot. Yeah. After work, this lady shares in a meeting, this lady Susan, and she shares like, she's talking and she's like, yeah, like I got a flat tire and like her Range Rover, and like it was really messing up her day, and she's sharing all this stuff. And in that moment, I'm listening to her and I'm thinking, oh my God, like how did I get here? Like, oh yeah, Susan, I just walked here. I would kill to have your problem. I wish I had a car that could get a flat tire. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's all about perspective, right? And guess what? One day I got a flat tire in my car and I went to a meeting and shared, because it messed up my whole day. Yeah. I had to wait 3 hours for the tow truck. Do you know what I'm saying? Did you share in that share that you remembered hearing someone say that? Okay, good. But I was just like totally messed with my whole day. Yeah. It was messed up. I was so frustrated. Like you said. I was so frustrated. Just like all the things, like, do you know what I mean? Like it was just, but I'm just saying like back then I was just like, oh, I wish I could have all these things. So I think that's definitely what my sister says, you know what I mean? But also like, you know, money does like play like a big like part in like life, you know what I mean? And it's definitely, I don't know. And like, my husband, like he owned part of a detox, like he owned a detox, and like he has helped so many people get into he has paid for a lot of people get to, I have like as well, like we're willing to do like whatever, you know what I mean? Definitely give back. I am forever grateful. Very like, I mean, you wouldn't like know, like talking like, you know, these things. Right. But yeah, that definitely plays like, but yet I honestly, it's just like, I just dove head in and did all these, and did all these things. I will say too, I think that we do have the benefit, if you didn't have all that stuff initially, like the woman that shared that she got a flat on her Range Rover, I don't know her story, but what I find is that same thing, didn't have a car forever. When I have car issues now, I am still able to be grateful though that I have the car and it doesn't affect me maybe as much as it would prior to being broke. You know what I mean? So I do think it can affect our day now. Yeah. But we probably recover from the irritation sooner. Like I wrote that down on, I've started to do like a 10-step at night. Yeah. And one of the things I was grateful for was my car needs new brakes. Yeah. So I've been able to drive my husband's for a week because he has a company truck. Yeah. When I was writing it down, I was like, God damn, I'm so grateful that I've got access to a second car that I can drive around. Whereas before I might have just only been irritated about the brakes. Yeah. You know? Yeah. What was your experience with the steps? Do you have, I think I told you, I may ask this, do you have a favorite step or like a reflection, like a perspective shift that you had during that time, or a favorite step, just like something that you got out of the steps that stands out? So I would say probably, I guess like once I, you know, people are scared of the fourth step or whatever, but like once I wrote everything down and truly, cause I was living in like la la land. I was really delusional. Okay. Like first time I did a fourth step, I remember writing down on there this chick, cause she didn't like congratulate me when I got like homecoming queen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like how crazy, like actually. Were you the homecoming queen? I was like, runner up. Yeah, I was on the court. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, I know. So that's why. And then I was just thinking like, that's like, I was like, hold on, and to say it out loud to somebody, you know, like the fifth step is really say it out loud and trust another person. And like fully, like I said, a whole thing of my story is like, I hid everything. No one knew anything like about me and like what was happening. So like to blast everything out and actually like say everything like that I have like ever done. 'Cause I mean, honestly, I've always been like a pretty shitty person, you know, you like, think? Yeah, I mean, like nothing was ever enough for me. Yeah. So like, I always thought that if my parents had money, that life would be better, like, and things I wouldn't have been like this, you know, and like, but yeah, I always was thinking about myself. Like I remember stealing $20 from my friend's purse. Like why? Helping her look for it. I wasn't even doing drugs. This was just do you know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I've always been like that type of like person. So like, yeah, when I did the 5th step, and I mean, honestly, what a lot of people forget in the steps is that 12th step, the part of helping others. I have a lot of friends that I know that don't sponsor other women.
Yeah.
They've been sober for years and they don't sponsor other women. It's a huge part. I probably say within the last, like I said, almost 10 years of being sober, I probably sponsored probably 75 chicks. And I'm saying some people it just happens. They don't ever call me again.
Right.
I've had 2 sponsees die.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's was super hard, but yeah. And people just don't do it. And it really sucks because I just want to be I wish you can feel the freedom that I feel.
Yeah.
I wish everybody could feel that,
And you feel like that's a direct result of sponsoring others.
Yeah.
Or all the things.
Yeah. All the things.
Right. Totally.
And fully doing it. But.
Well, what you just said kind of leads me to something else that I think I told you I may ask about. You felt prior to any of this, things weren't ever enough for you. If your parents had money, maybe things would have been different. You stole from your friend. So are you grateful when you look back for everything that happened? Do you feel like it made you a kinder person? Because I do for everything that you just said also. Are you grateful for this journey?
Yeah, I'm so grateful because I just think about, like I said, all these God moments. I grew up a half hour from my husband. I didn't meet him until I was out here. If I never did drugs, if I never wrote to Dr. Phil, if I never went on the show, I would have never got sent out here. There's no way, you know what I mean? And then God puts these people in my life. God put this this chick, the chef at my treatment center, his wife worked at the recovery store. I did my chore every day in the kitchen. He liked that I did my chore every day. He told his wife that I was looking for a job. She got me hired. The boss helped me get a car with her father-in-law, Kimberly, her father-in-law owned a shop, got me a car, this cheap deal. Do you know what I'm saying? All these places, all these things I put in life. And I'm so grateful for it because also we have life experience. Yes. There's people that have never struggled or anything. I'm so grateful for the struggle because I am very, I have gratitude in my life and I'm able to see these moments without the struggle and the life experience. Even now, I just moved into a house. I have the electrician there. I'm talking to him and he's my age. And he's I don't know. There's just something about him. I can connect with him. He just you can tell he's has life experience. Yeah. Dude, somehow we started talking and he is 3 years sober.
Oh, wow. Oh,
we just talked today about it. Just you know what I'm saying? You just know people and so I'm so grateful for all the struggle that I did go through. Absolutely. Very grateful. And I used to hate when people say, grateful alcoholic, you know, and I would just be ew. Yeah. Why? But honestly, what would I be doing? What kind of person would I be if I wasn't, you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah,
I know. I think about the same thing. Say I had actually gone to law school and all the things I wanted to do. I was not a very happy person prior to any of this. Yeah. And I do just have a deeper experience and appreciation for life, right? A deeper appreciation for life has allowed me to live a bigger experience in it, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So do you think that it does have anything to do with your parents that all 3 of you ended up on heroin? Or do you think it's just a coincidence? Or just not a coincidence, but just how it worked out?
I mean, honestly, my dad, they're just pretty normal people. You know what I mean?
That would be my thought. I'm pretty fucked up. My brother didn't necessarily do all the things he wanted to do. And I worry sometimes people will think it was because of my parents. And I want to be no. This was unrelated to anything they did. And I think it's people that haven't experienced addiction personally that could think that, because I'm in my thoughts. It was unrelated to anything that they did. I had this desire to be different and do something bad and stray away from my norm. Do you know what I mean? It was not related to them. And I can confidently say that.
Yeah. And like I said, no, my parents, my dad had us in pitching camp and all the sports and we did all the things. So it wasn't I don't even know how we ended up, but yeah, I definitely don't think, I don't know. Cause then obviously they were enabling at the end, but what do you really do in that situation? And also now, like since then, my parents now, people just think their shit don't stink and it could never happen to them. Right. So my parents have had like people in our town, like reach out to them so much and say, my kid actually like like has done this. Like you never think it can happen to you until it actually does, you know? So like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, where you come from or anything, like, cause like I said, we see so many people that like come from money, have like the best, like all the things, and they end up in like, you know, they're in rehab right next to me, you know? So it's kind of just like, oh, like, how did we like get here? You know? So I learned truly about alcoholism and how it centers in our mind, you know, and it's this disease of like perception, and it's like a thinking problem, you know? And that's what I'm saying. Like now that I have the tools and I can look back now on everything in my life that has happened, like I can truly see, but I wasn't self-aware at the time. Right. You know, and like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter. Like don't do AA, like but what kind of like healing are you doing? Like, what are you like doing to, you know what I mean? Like, so a very spiritual person, you know, and like I said, I have a lot of these God moments, not religious. I don't go to church or anything like that, but definitely pray to a God, you know, like that I call God. And like, it's just, well, life is just so different than it was. Yeah.
Do you have any daily practices for the 11 step, like meditation or types of, like, is there a routine that you have?
Well, so like, and it's all like routine. I have a routine, and I never really, I was thinking like, you know, the 11 step and the meditation. When I hear meditation, I think like, shanti, shanti, like, you know what I mean? And what I truly learned is that like the meditation part really is like, cause I pray. The meditation is actually just like the listening, me being able to pause, you know what I mean? Praying is like talking to God. Meditation is more like a listening too. That's like what I think. In the beginning of me getting sober, my meditation was every morning I would get up, I would smoke a cigarette and drink coffee and listen to music. That was my meditation. So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but that's just being mindful. That counts. That gets you in your body and makes you mindful.
Yes. But people like, so that's like what my meditation was. Even like now, and like it's something my husband suggested that like I do, like I set an alarm to get up at like 6:30 before my kids, because I have 2 kids now. And like before my kids wake up and the chaos starts, because what happens is if I don't do that and I wake up, like it's just like chaotic. I start my day like just mean, miserable, yelling, like I'm in the thick of it. I have the 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I'm in the thick of it right now. So like I truly feel like, you know, the routine is like, I need to like get up, pray. I talk to other alcoholics every single day, you know, and then I have a home group I go to every Tuesday. And, you know, I have a sponsor that I talk to at least like 3-4 times a week. And I see her like once a week at the meeting. But like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if I take away one, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't exactly can't pinpoint that, like what it is that is working. So that's why I continue to just like do it all.
Yeah. Do all the things.
You know, and also a big thing is, and what I do now is I'm a huge like recover out loud, which is crazy because how I was so quiet. But now with the Dr. Phil thing, I don't care if I can help one person, like it doesn't even matter anymore. I want everyone to know that like, if you see me on the street, like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't know what I did, or like, you know, like of who I am, because I'm a completely different person, you know? And a lot of like me, I thought an alcoholic was an old man under the bridge.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I thought like, so I never thought it could happen to me. So like, that's why I'm big with sharing my story. That's why I'm like so grateful for people like you who do this, you know, and like, thank you so much for like asking me, because you get the message out there, you know?
I would have loved to have seen one of us when I was using and think like, oh, like they do look okay. They like she just said she bought a house. Is that what she said? You know what I mean? That would have been amazing for me to see, because I didn't believe it was possible.
No, and that's what I mean. So it's absolutely, it's just like, just sharing the story, getting that out there like big, and like times have changed. You know what I mean? And I know people shit on AA.
They do, which is one of the other reasons why I do this. Because I want to be able to provide perspective and truth, because a lot of what people believe about 12-step is misperception. It's not accurate. Like you don't have to believe in like Jesus.
No.
You know what I mean? You don't have to go to church. that you could be on Suboxone, like depends on what meeting you go, but your sponsor could know. My sponsor sponsors people on Suboxone. I certainly would. Like there are all these misperceptions that I try to show and talk about and discuss honestly and openly.
Yeah.
With the hopes that somebody may try it that maybe wouldn't have.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it sucks that people get this shit on AA and like this program is anonymous, you know what I mean? So, but if people ask me how I get sober, I say it, you know what I mean? And times have changed. This book was like written in, you know what I mean? Right. And like now it's like there's social media. We should be able to like talk about like exactly like what we do, you know? So it really like sucks. But like you said, people like, I don't really care what, like, you know what I mean? To each their own. Right. But I am telling you, there is a whole like new way of life to like live. And there's this like book of like tools, like a guide to living. Yeah. And like, that's really it. But you don't have to, you know what I mean? Like you said, people have one bad experience in AA. And there is people that suck. Yes. People suck, dude. Oh, yeah. But people suck everywhere. Everywhere. Like there are assholes at my gym. It doesn't mean you shouldn't work out. Yeah, no. You know what I mean? Like, anytime you get a group of human beings together, some of them will be assholes. Yeah. It's just kind of how it works. Yeah. But that's kind of my goal too. And that's why, like, it doesn't matter how much time you have sober, like you can still suck. But like, that's what I'm saying. It's about like I like how you asked, like, what are you doing like daily? Because, it's about like what I'm doing like today, and like, cause I mean, so that's why I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just grateful for people like you that do this because this is awesome. Well, thank you for coming down. Yeah, this is a wild, fun story. This was fun. And I literally had no idea. I just knew you had, 10 years and we're friends with those girls. And I thought, oh, she lives near me. Let's do it. And it worked. Like the Dr. Phil thing. It worked. That's why I am grateful. And people are like, oh yeah, Dr. Phil's an asshole. But like, dude, I'm grateful. It got me to, because a lot of people were talking crap about Dr. Phil. And I like, it's just like, dude, I don't know. I went on the show. My experience is I was a drug addict. Of course, it's TV. They're going to put me down and say all this stuff. And now here I am. And I have almost 10 years sober. On September 10th, I'll be 10 years sober. I am married to we have a healthy relationship. We communicate who does that? And like I have 2 kids. Yeah. Like I have a little girl and like my son, and like they're just like perfect like little people. Well, you got the opportunity, and it's like the vehicle for the opportunity, the vehicle to the opportunity could be whatever, but if you leverage the opportunity, it's like people that do really great on social media. Like you can say whatever you want about social media, but if you're someone like Abby or Brittany Jade who can leverage social media to enhance the quality of the life that you have to live in, right? Like other people can have their thoughts about whatever, but you're sitting in this day with me. I'm sitting in this day with me. Yeah. And what is the quality of my life? And the Dr. Phil show directly got you to this quality of life right now. Yeah. So like, who cares? I know. And like, how cool that we all like, we get to, meet people like Brittany and Abby that share their story. And like now, like, we all have one common, like, how are we connected? Yeah. We're all like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like we're all in recovery, just trying to get another day sober. Yeah. And not be an asshole. Not be an asshole. Yeah. And like, we're a good fucking time. Yeah. I agree. Right? Yes. Yes. So, I agree. Yes. Dude, thank you so much for doing this. Yes, of course. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was super fun. This was a good time. Was it? Yeah, and we have to get together more. We live an hour away. So close to me. Yeah. Have you done any other shows before? No. I didn't think so because I was looking for your name on Spotify. And I was like, I don't think she's... Well, I'm honored that I'm the first one. Yeah. That's awesome. This is it. Yeah. Hollywood, baby. Yeah, exactly. With the lights and everything. It does kind of feel like it. Yeah, it does. I know. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.